Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto was strongest in Gun Gale Online. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by lastnamikazekazerou and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. Hidden Message. 9 months later. There were lots of panels floating everywhere, in the bar, outside the streets and in some other place. All the people currently watching intently on the screen to observe the interview. On the screen is a long blue hair man with sunglasses and wearing a white outfit. Lots of people think that Agi is the ultimate stat, but that's rubbish. But that's not to say it isn't important. The combination of quick firing and evasion is more than enough for a strong build. That's how it always been. Until now, that is. To the speed freaks who have spent 8 months raising their Agi. I only have 2 words to you. My condolences, said the blue-haired man, and waving his finger. The crowd in different bars and cafes hearing that began to boo him loudly. Not surprisingly, the top player of Gun Gale Online, which is said to be the hardest VR MMO of all time, has quite a unique spin on things, said the blonde MC wearing orange clothes. Well, being invited to MMO stream must be a once-of-a-lifetime event, said the blue-haired man. There you go again. Would you plan to win the bob this time too? Asked the MC. Of course, if I entered I will be aiming for the top, said the blue-haired man with confidence and flicks his hair back to the crowd. They began to boo him again. But you know, Zexceed Bob is a game based on solo encounters, is it not? There is no guarantee that the same outcome will happen every time, so I don't know about you're talking about. Status type was the deciding factor, said the man that was sitting in the middle of Zexceed and the MC. He has black with a red mop in the center. He also wears black clothes and wearing a pair of small glasses. No, but the results really do reveal the weakness of the current metagame in GGO. Though you are the Agi type, so I do understand you feeling the need to refute the idea, Yamakaze said Zexceed and smirking at Yamakaze. Yamakaze just grunted silently at what he said. Then Zexceed stood up and raised both his hand up and began to talk. I'll agree the incessant Agi and rapid firing with a powerful automatic was the optimal playstyle up until now. But it's natural for the MMO's metagame to keep evolving. And in games with a level-up system, stats won't be able to reallocate it if you made a mistake, which making it crucial to always think ahead allocating points. There is no guarantee that the strongest playstyle at one level will be best for the other. New guns that'll be added from now will have higher strength and higher accuracy requirements. There was one figure in a black cloak that was sitting silently the whole speech. Suddenly, he decided to stand up from his place and began to slowly approach the panel with Zexceed face on it. Everybody in the bar began to look at the figure curiously. He took his gun out under his cloak and aimed at Zexceed face on the panel. Zexceed. You false victor. It's time for you to be judged by the true power, said the cloak figure aiming his gun at Zexceed. Some people hearing that began to laugh, thinking it was some kind of joke. The cloak figure pressed on the trigger and shot at Zexceed's face on the panel. At first nothing happened and Zexceed is smirking arrogantly, then suddenly he widened his eyes, gasped, and his character disappeared from the screen. People in that bar was so shocked and scared of the cloak person after what they just witnessed. This is the true power, true strength. All you fools learn to fear this name and burn it into your memories. The name of this gun and mine share is Death Gun, said the figure and raised his gun high. The face was showed due to this action. He has skeleton metal mask with red glowing eyes. Also some stream has come out of his mask when he said his name. Tokyo. During the past 9 months, some things happened. Naruto Uzumaki has become so famous because of his system that allowed to transfer skills from one game to another. He was invited to MMO stream many times in order to get the interview. But Naruto knew that if he go there things will become even more troublesome, so he decided not to go. Another thing happened, that was Rika's motherly instinct decided to show itself. Looking at Asuna and Yui's interaction so many times caused her motherly instinct to wake up. So Rika demanded Naruto to create her daughter as cute as Yui. Naruto, being the obedient husband he is, asked Kazuto in helping to create a new AI. It took them a decent amount of time, but they succeed. The full name of new AI was Wendy MHCP002. It was a girl with a long dark blue hair that reached her waist with chestnut brown eyes. She wore a simple dress with 2 wavy stripes running across the dress and ending in small pointed edges at the bottom. That's right, Minasan. It's Wendy Marvell from Fairy Tail. Wendy has a very shy personality and often stuttering as she was not used to the people around her just yet. When Rika first saw her new daughter she practically can't get her eyes out of Wendy because of the cuteness she displayed. Leafo also found Wendy very cute and also spent more times with her. Slowly but Wendy began to get used to her new family and accepted them with open arms. Now Naruto and Rika walking on the street holding hands. Naruto has changes his appearance a little. His hairstyle now is that of Cloud Strife from FFVII. Also to prevent a crowd from recognizing him, when he goes outside he always wears a pair of sunglasses. Rika is still remain the same, maybe grown taller a bit. Right now they are heading to restaurant, as today is the anniversary of nearly 1 year since Sao. Restaurant. Naruto and Rika went to the table that they had ordered. Rika sat on the table, then touched Naruto's hand softly gaining his attention. Do you remember the first time we meet each other, Naruto-kun? Asked Rika smiling at him. How could I forget that day? It was really hilarious, I just walked in and broke your best sword. Then that bet happened, said Naruto smiling at nostalgia. I wonder if Kirito won't told you to meet at my shop. Will we ever meet each other? Asked Rika, her eyes glaze a little. I don't know. But I am glad that it happened, you know that day changed my whole life in Sao. Before that I only focused on mastering my sword style and destroyed all PK players, said Naruto smiling softly at her. So many things has happened since then, but I am glad that everything is okay now. We have such a cute daughter now. Oh, I think I should reward you for that, said Rika and make a come closer move with her finger. Naruto leaned in, Rika held onto his cheeks and kissed him passionately. Naruto answered her action by kissing her back as well. After a while, she broke up and there was line of saliva between their lips. Naruto's eyes were glazed from such a passionate kiss. Rika just smirks victoriously. Naruto shook his head to clear his head and said. I decided from a player to become a creator really. A new MMO. I am sure it will be awesome, said Rika smiling. Yeah, I decide to create a new MMO. It will be a combination of Sao and Alo though use different kind of energy to perform skills, said Naruto crossing his hands before his face. Whoa. It sound great. What else will be there? Asked Rika amazed at the idea. Well actually the game will be called Shinobi World Online. The players from the beginning will choose to which village they want to be in. There will be 5 major villages. Konohagakure, Kirigahakure, Kumagakure, Iwagakure and Sunagahakure. The leader of each village hold the title of Kage. The level up system will be present as well. As for the energy to perform skills. It's called chakra. You won't be able to fly like an Alo, but you will be able to jump up high and running on the trees or mountains. That's all for now, I guess, explained Naruto. Some details that will be present in his new project sounds very promising. I hope it will outdo all the other MMO, said Rika. Well, I don't know about outdoing other MMO. I just want to try to create my own game, that's all, said Naruto closing his eyes. Then Naruto recalled the meeting with Kikuoka Sujiro the day before. FLASHBACK1 day earlier. Naruto received the call from Kikuoka and said that he has some important things that need to discuss with Naruto. Naruto entered the restaurant and saw Kikuoka was waving at him. Naruto approached him and sat on the chair opposite of Kikuoka. Good evening, Kikuoka-san. What would like to discuss with me, asked Naruto straight to the business. Yeah, I didn't know that you are such a straightforward person, Naruto-kun. Order anything you like, I will pay for it, said Kikuoka smiling. Okay, then, said Naruto. He opened the menu and ordered some dessert. The waiter approached them and took the order, then leave. So what is the important business you are talking about? Asked Naruto. Kikuoka took out his tablet and showed the picture of the middle-aged man last month. On November 14th, the landlord of Nakano, Tokyo apartment building, shelled something while cleaning. She got worried and opened the electric lock on the door and discovered the body of this man, Shigemuta Tomatsu, age 26. He's been dead for 5.5 days. His room was messy but hadn't been ransacked. The body was on the bed. And on his head, said Kikuoka. Atmosphere. Naruto finished the sentence with narrowed eyes. Kikuoka nodded his head and continued. Given the possibility of foul play, an autopsy was held. The cause of death, heart attack. Are sure that his brain wasn't fried? Asked Naruto. No, we checked and there was no brain damage in his brain. Before the death, he was the famous player of Gun Gale Online by the name Zexceed. Gun Gale Online. The only game that you can transfers the money from the game into real life. I heard only pros play that game, said Naruto surprised. That's right. He was the winner of the Bob in October. Not long after that he was invited to MMO stream. There was something strange happened back there. There was some player in black cloak walked to the screen, said something about judgment and power, then shot at the panel. At first nothing happened, but after a minute Zexceed held on his heart with wide eyes and gasping mouth, then his avatar disappeared from the screen. Kikuoka was silent for a minute. Naruto looked at him with narrowed eyes and asked, I presume there was something more you want to said. Yeah. Near Shigemuta corpse was a note 1AMW81NG4U, HB 1AMW81NG4U, HB. What could it be? Asked Naruto raising his brow. We are trying to decipher the message as well. But the trick is that what happened to Zexceed happened to Shigemuta at the same time. Can you believe that you could kill a person through a game, Earl? Asked Kikuoka looking at Naruto curiously. Absolutely not, certainly it was just a coincidence. Nothing like that can ever happen, said Naruto with certainty. No, it's not, Naruto-kun. There was 2 cases more that was exactly the same. The player was also the skilled GGO player by the name of Yasujio Tarako. He was playing the game at that time. He was meeting with his squadron and was shot by another player, the same guy that shot Zexeed. Naruto deduced probably. He says the same thing about power and judgment and used the same character name as a death gun. But because of the third victim I managed to decipher the message, said Kikuoka, sipping his tea. What is so special about this victim? The special thing about this victim is not his real name, but rather his avatar. His avatar's name was Maelstrom Batausai. Naruto hearing that widened his eyes and began to think for a while. So that's it. The message was addressed to me. I am waiting for you, Hidakiri Batausai. It's clearly an invitation for me to go, so you have deduced that as well, huh? I expect nothingness from you, Naruto-kun. What are you planning to do now? Asked Kikuoka. So my battle is still not over yet. It's clearly that the death gun was one of survivor of Sao and he want revenge. I am suspecting that he was one of the 3 survivors of that guild. Though I can't confirm just yet. You planned this from the start, didn't you, Kikuoka-san? You used me to investigate the cases by getting shot by death gun, said Naruto looking at Kikuoka with a calm expression. Now Naruto-kun, don't say I am using you. I just wanted you to log in to confirm if the fact, that's all. Also, I heard you starting your new project. I will help you financially if you help me with this case. My boss is very worried about this, said Kikuoka smiling. Don't worry, I will log in. I need correct my past mistake after all. But first I will need some time to say goodbye to my friend, said Naruto. You can use as much time as you need to say goodbye to your friends. Just come to the hospital when you are ready to log in, said Kikuoka. Naruto nodded his head. He finished his dessert and stood up to leave. Then flashback. Naruto is spacing out, so Rika decide to shake him. Naruto-kun. Naruto-kun. Why are so spacing out? Did something happened? Asked Rika worriedly. No, nothing happened. Let's head back to Kazuto's house after we eat. We decided to gather there after all, said Naruto smiling. Rika just looked at him for a while, then shrugged her head. When the food has come, they finished it quickly and head back to Kiragaya's household. GGO. At some ruins, the party consists of 7 people are heading to a certain location. Far from them was a girl in aqua blue hair with aqua eyes watching the group through the monocular. Her sniper gun. I am in position, said a voice through the radio in the girl's ear. Roger that. The enemies made no change in course or speed. Distance from you is 400. From here it's 1500, said the girl through the radio. That's pretty damn far. Can you do it? Asked a voice through the radio. It's no problem, alright, commencing sniping. I am counting on you, Sinon. Roger, said Sinon, and prepared to snipe the target. This pressure, this anxiety, this fear, I don't care for any of it. It's as simple as throwing a paper ball into a wastebasket. Yes, compared to that time, thought Sinon with a calm face and aiming her gun at the guy with mohawk hairstyle. Then she pressed the trigger and shot at the target, eliminating him in one shot. Next, said Sinon, aiming at the other target. Chapter 2. Sinon and Nightmare of Past Sin. Ghostland Field. Sinon has just shot down the one with mohawk hair. After that she decided to target the big one with a cloak. She shot one spinning shot, but the one in the cloak knew where she aimed and avoided easily. Sinon, seeing that she missed, decided to search for her new position. As judged from the bullet line, the one in cloak has already found her hiding place. But when she looked around, she realized that she couldn't change the location. Now I won't be able to change position. Objective 1, clear. Objective 2, fail, reported Sinon through the radio to Dine. Roger. Stand by there, go, said Dine through the radio and ordered the rest of his squad. Sinon decided to watch the situation from her monocular in Hikate. She scanned the rest of her squad, then turned her attention to the big one in the cloak. At that time, the one in cloak decided to reveal himself and took off his cloak and showed a minigun hide under the cloak. Sinon, seeing that, widened her eyes in shock. Then the realization came to her they weren't late because of their hunt ran long. It was the movement penalty due to miniguns. Wait, the big guy began to prepare to open fire, waiting for the rest of Dine's squad to appear to finish them off. The 2 from Dine's squad, seeing that the enemy had only the weapons only for hunting monsters, decide to engage them. They managed to shoot the 2 enemy down easily. Suddenly, multiple shots came behind him with great speed. The guy couldn't avoid the shots in time as there were too many. He was shot down in an instant and shattered to blue polygon. Dine and his squad looking at what happened in shock. In a certain distance, the big guy had just finished shooting from minigun and has a satisfied smirk on his face. Sinon's place. Sinon, seeing the smirk from the monocular of Hikate, decide to leave her hiding place. As she is running, she begin to think, that smile, does that mean he's strong enough to smile on the battlefield? That guy, I am gonna kill him. To the battlefield. Dine and his squad was trying their hardest to defeat at least the hunting squad. Suddenly, he saw the bulletin line and ordered all his squad to lie down just in time to avoid the terrifying shots from the minigun. Damn it. Don't let him get close to us, cursed Dine and ordered his men understood. Meanwhile the big guy was hiding behind the rock wall and recharging his minigun. Dine looked behind him, sweet-tripped nervously and thought there are no place to hide. Damn it, and he looked closely and saw Sinan was running to his direction hurriedly. He was surprised seeing her sudden appearance on the front line. Sinan continued running and dodging the bullets with the help of predicting the bullet lines. Suddenly, there were multiple shots firing straight at her body. Sinan has no choice but to jump to the air to avoid the shots. After escaping the shots, she decided to regroup with Dine's squad. Are you okay? Sinan just nodded her head. We are in trouble. They hired a bodyguard. The guy with the minigun. He is the macho guy named Behemoth. Said Dine with despair. If we keep hiding, they will wipe us all out. He should be running low on minigun ammo now. If we all attack at once, he may hesitate to go all out, said Sinan. Then she turned to the two of the squad. Jin and Mizo will approach from the left. Dine and I will go around from the right. Storm, you stay here, back us up, ordered Sinan to the rest of the squad. It's impossible. There are still 3 guys with blasters out there. If we head in, our defensive fields won't, said Dine hesitantly. Blasters can't fire as fast as physical weapons. We can dodge half of them, argued Sinan. It's impossible. If we run in, the minigun will rip us apart. It's too bad, but let's give up this time. I'd rather logged out than give them victory, retort Dine and proposed. Logging out doesn't mean that you'll escape, said Sinan. What? This is just a game, don't take it too seriously. If we run in, we'll all die, said Dine. Yo, you are pathetic. Shouted Sinan. Then she held on Dine's collar and said. If this is just a game, then be brave enough to run toward the guns and die. Sinan turned to the rest of the squad. 3 seconds, keep the minigun occupied for 3 seconds and I'll take him down. Alright, and we will commence operation now, said Sinan. Sinan showed her finger and count to 3, then Jin and Mizo began to open fire. Sinan and Dine began to quickly move to the right side of Behemoth. The 2 guys with blasters decided to cover Behemoth and open fire at Sinan and Dine. Sinan took out her pistol and began to shoot at the enemy. Then she turned to Dine and said, Dine. Back me up. After she said that, she jumped forward, then lied down and aimed her Hikate at Behemoth. Behemoth felt her presence and turned backwards. He only managed to dodge the shot so that it didn't took off his head, though Sinan managed to destroy his glasses. He was very surprised at that. Then he smirked and opened fire his minigun. Sinan saw the bullet line and decided to move to other place to hide. Dine was struggling against Blaster's guys. He looked at Sinan, sweet-dripping nervously. Then he decided to charge forward at the enemy. The blasters continued to shoot at Dine, but he ignored all the shots and continued to run forward. Damn it all, then he took out a grenade and threw at the 2 blasters. He was killed, but the grenade also detonated at the same, taking the blasters with him as well. Sinan, seeing that, thought, nice guts, Dine. I need to somehow move to Behemoth's blind spot. And she looked up at the high tower not far from her and thought, he won't be able to pinpoint my location just yet. With that thought, Sinan began to run up the stairs to head to the top of the tower. That guy is strong enough to smile on the battlefield. I'll kill him, and then Sinan arrived at the desired location and aimed her Hikate at Behemoth. Behemoth just smirked and prepared to fire his minigun. Sinan saw the bullet line and realized she couldn't stood on one place. So she decided to jump down from the tower and shot Behemoth at the same time. Behemoth, seeing her, jumped open fire. Behemoth managed to take off one of Sinan's leg. He thought she already died and began to laugh loudly. Then he widened his eyes, seeing Sinan still alive. He opened fire again. Sinan opened her eyes widely and concentrate on dodging the rest of the shots by spinning and do some salto in midair. Behemoth tried his hardest to shoot down Sinan, but it was no use. When she was at a mere distance from him, she aimed her Hikate at his head and smirked coldly. This is the end. With that, she shot at his forehead and blew Behemoth to pieces. She kneeled on the ground when she landed. Behind her the Behemoth avatar began to disperse. Lasada Shino's room. Lasada Shino opened her eyes slowly. She took out the atmosphere from her head, then raised her hand up and muttered, stronger, I have to become stronger. Alaphorist. Lisbeth, Silica and Leafa are surrounding the plant monster and tries to take it down. Silica slashed her sword horizontally and managed to injure the monster. Though the monster managed to grab her leg and dragging her to it. Silica-chan. Said Leafa. Silica activated her wings and managed to escape a little, though the monster strengthened the hold and hold her upside down. Now Leafa-chan. Leafa, seeing that, rushed forward and slashed the monster's tentacle. Then she looked up the air and said, Liz-san. It's your turn. From the sky, Liz flew down at great speed with a mace in her hand. Chest with that said, she strikes a powerful strike at the monster. The monster dispersed in blue polygon. Yay. We cleared this floor. Said Leafa enthusiastically. By the way, why didn't Naruto-san log in today? Asked Silica curiously. He said something about not feeling very well right now, said Leafa with a sad look. Don't worry, Ka-chan. I am sure 2chan will come back very soon, said Wendy in her pixie form. I hope so, Wendy-chan, said Leaf. Elizabeth just looked up in the sky deep in thought. What is happening with you, Naruto-kun? I know you are healthy, so what is your reason? On the tree not far from the trio, Kirito just lying in the grass enjoying the wind blowing through his hair. Asuna also looked down deep in thought. Kirito opened his eyes and seeing her expression and decided to ask her what's with the long face. Something happened. Asuna looked at Kirito for a while, then decided to answer. It's Naruto. After the day he met with Kikuoka-san, he began to act strangely. Also there is also a scary expression on his face. I tried to ask him what is wrong, but he just looked at me with cold eyes and walked away. What's happening to him, Kirito-kun? I am scared. Kirito just narrowed his eyes and thought, what is happening to you after that meeting, Naruto? Why do you suddenly revert to the Hidakiri Batausai persona? Ryuki's household. Naruto's room. Naruto has woke up for like the fourth time already. He couldn't sleep as when he closed his eyes all the players that he killed will hunted him again, in addition to the face of Zexseed, Tarako and Maelstrom. They all said one sentence with a bloody face and creepy smile. It's time to face judgment, Hidakiri Batausai. Because of you we all died. You are no hero. You are a monster, demon, heartless killer. You are no better than us. Naruto stood up from his bed and slowly walked to the window. He looked at the moon with solemn eyes. That's right, because of my softness those three person is dead now. After the marriage with Lisbeth, I became too soft to the point of sparing members of Laughing Coffin. I should have killed them all that day. That mistake has cost 3 lives of innocent players now. Tomorrow, I will say goodbye and finished what I should have done a year ago, said Naruto, then his eyes began to gleam dangerously at the light of the moon. Those eyes were the eyes of a ruthless killer that showed no mercy to his opponent. Those are the eyes of Hidakiri Batausai that has been asleep in Naruto for 1 year. Chapter 3. Fateful meeting and welcome to GGO. Asada Shino has just walked out from the school ground. She stopped for a second to inhale the fresh and then proceed to move to the market. At the market. She picked up a tomato to inspect it. Suddenly, there is a voice behind her called out from behind Asada. Asada Shino. Shino turned back to see who is calling her. That was the 2 classmates that is often bullied her by demanding money. The 2 bullies decided to Shino to their boss. Ian Sumnero, Alithi, leader of the 2 bullies, is sitting on the top of the trash can and smoking. Shino was shoved forward by the 2 behind her. Sorry Asada. We spend so much time at Karayak, we ran out of money for the train. We'll pay you back tomorrow, so give us this much, said the leader and showed on her hand. How many did she need? 0.10.000 yen. I don't have that much, said Shino with her glasses hiding her eyes. Then go and withdraw it, said the leader. No, answered Shino. What did you say? Asked the leader once more. No. I won't lend you any money anymore, Endu-san, repeated Shino. Just that Shino turned her back to Endu and prepared to leave the alley. Don't screw with me, girl, said Endu, narrowing her eyes. I am leaving, so move, said Shino to the 2 in front of her. Endu just smirked and approaching Shino slowly. Then she pointed her finger out like she was shooting. Shino's eyes widened at the action and she began to tremble. Then a voice came from behind them, snapped her out. You 3, leave that girl alone. I am in a very bad mood now, so get out of here before I get mad, said the voice behind them. They all turned behind and saw a teenage boy in a black vest with high collar. He has spiky blonde hair, though you couldn't see his eyes as they were hid under a pair of sunglasses. Who the heck are you to order us to do something? Shouted Endu in rage. I told you already. I am in a very bad mood now. Get out or pay the consequence, said the boy coldly and began to approach them slowly. Endu and the 2 felt shivers down their spine at the tone and decided to do as they were told. It's not over yet, Asada, said Endu and ran away with the other 2. Seeing that they had left, Naruto decided to approach Shino to check her condition. Are you okay now? Asked Naruto kneeling beside Shino. Shino slowly looked up at her savior and said. Yes, I am fine now. Thank you. I am Uzumaki Yuki. Naruto. Nice to meet you, said Naruto and took off his glasses, exposing his sky blue eyes. Shino widened her eyes at seeing the celebrity in front of her. Same Naruto that was proclaimed hero of Sao. Asked Shino. Well, I am not comfortable with that title, but yes. Let's head to some place and have a drink. Also, if it's not a problem to you, I would like to know, what was that back then? Asked Naruto. Shino just nodded her head and began to walk ahead. I am actually have a bike. Let's go there, said Naruto. They went to the parking place of Naruto's bike and take off to the cafe. Naruto bought himself a bike for one reason. To run away from fangirls. His bike is the Fenrir bike of Cloud Strife. At the cafe. Naruto and Shino sat on the opposite of each other and waiting for the waiter to arrive. Well, I have introduced myself already. But I don't know your name. Asked Naruto looking at Shino. My name is Asada Shino, Uzumaki-san, answered Shino. So what was that back there? Asked Naruto. It happened every week. They just took advantage of my fear and used it, said Shino. And you just let them bully you continuously like that? Asked Naruto, narrowing his eyes. Shino just stayed silent. Shino then remembered that this boy in front of her also killed the people in Sao. So why did he remain so calm now? She wanted to know, how did he do that? Uzumaki-san, Naruto is fine. I hate formalities, said Naruto, closing his eyes. Then Naruto-san, you've killed the people in Sao, right? Naruto just nodded his head. Then how can you act so calm? Did it affect you anymore? Not really. I just moved on with life. But why do you suddenly ask me that question, Asada-san? Asked Naruto, narrowing his eyes. Shino thought for a while, then decided to answer. I in this whole world, maybe only you will be able to understand what I am feeling, Naruto-san. It all started when I was little. One peaceful day, me and my mom were going to the bank to put in reserve. Then there was one man walked in slowly. I looked at his face and noticed he was crying. Suddenly, he shoved my mother away, then opened his bag to take out the pistol and demand the employees to put all their money in the bag. His face was in panic the whole time, which means that was his first to actually rob the bank. When he received money, he shot down the person that gave money to him. Because the employee was trying to turn on the alarm to alert the people. He turned to the other employee and demanded her to fill the bags, or else he will shot another person. He pointed his gun to my mother, so I couldn't sat there and do nothing. I immediately rushed to him and bit his hand and forced the pistol to fall out of his hand. Then to protect myself, I decided to pick out the gun. The robber, seeing that, immediately jumped on me and tried to take off the gun from my hand. Then Shino shared her story with Naruto, but in the end she couldn't finish the sentence. Yo, you don't need to continue anymore. I've already deduced what happened next, said Naruto solemnly. I wanted to move on like you, Naruto-san. How did you do it? Please, I can't take this anymore. Said Shino with tears running down her eyes. Naruto stood up and approached her, then hugged her to comfort her. I understand what you felt. Like you, I also was haunted by the nightmares. But the difference between you and me was that you shot the robber on accident. I, on the hand, do it with my own free will. I killed my heart to do what was necessary back then. I don't know what to advise you to make you move on. But I think that you need to find someone very precious to you. The important person to you that will make you overcome all the fears, said Naruto, still hugging Shino. Precious person? Asked Shino. That's right. I am only saying now because I have friends that always believe and support me. I believe that the person can become truly strong when protecting the precious ones to him or her. You need to find that person to overcome your fear, Asada-san. You need the person that will mean so much to you that just by the thought of that person getting hurt, you will be able to unleash all your power that lies deep inside you, said Naruto, smiling at her. Thank you, Naruto-san. I didn't make a mistake by sharing my story with you. I feel so much better now, said Shino, smiling. It is nothing. If you want, we can become friends. I am sure that will be wonderful, said Naruto, smiling softly at Shino. Shino couldn't help but blushed at the smiling, handsome face of Naruto. Now, she understood why all the girls in her classes were crazy about him. Why, yeah, I wouldn't mind that, said Shino. Then Naruto looked out of the window and saw that it was pretty dark outside already. I will take you home. It's pretty dark outside after all. Also, I wouldn't like to let a gentle girl such as you to walk home alone in such a dark sky, said Naruto, and stood up from the table. Shino also stood up and followed him to his bike. When they reached the place, Naruto turned on the engine, then told Shino to sit behind him and hold on him tight. With that, they began to take off to the direction of Shino's apartment. I'm Skip. Shino stepped out from the bike, then turned to Naruto and said, I am grateful for you for the speech that you gave me, Naruto-san. Also thank you for saving mites. No problem, Asada-san. Shino decided to interrupt him there. Shino. Please, call me Shino. We are friends now, so you don't need to call me by my family name. It's too formal. Naruto blinked, then said slowly, oh okay then, Shino-chan, it was nothing really. I am just glad that I've been able to help you out. It's pretty late already. See you later, Naruto-san, said Shino, bowing down, then began to head to her apartment. If those bullies tried to bother you again, don't hesitate to call me, okay? Shouted Naruto before she managed to enter her apartment. Shino just turned to Naruto and nodded her head. Then she entered her apartment. Naruto, seeing she came in and decided to leave the place. He turned on the engine and take off to the direction of his house. Now. I need to log in Alo to tell the girls in Kirito about my leaving Shino's house. Shino slowly began to move to her bed. She recalled the conversation with Naruto and was about to reach the nightstand to take out the model of a gun there. But she stopped in the mid of the action. Then she lied on the bed and looked at the ceiling. To find a precious person, huh? Wonder if I could ever find such a person. Naruto is really strong, just talking with him I could feel that. His heart is unwavering. If I was him I would never be able to move on from such experience. I want to be as strong as him. I will make Seinen stronger than him, then maybe I would be able to move on with my life. Shino looked at the atmosphere and put it on her head. Link start. Al Rainbow Forest. The girls in Kirito was waiting for Naruto to log in. As he said, he has the important matter to tell them. After a while, Naruto's avatar appeared and he began to fly towards them. So, what is the important business you want to tell us? Asked Kirito. Naruto took deep breath because he knew there is no way Elizabeth is goons like what he was about to say. I will leave this game for some time. There is some business in the other game. The Kauka-san asked to help him with investigation, said Naruto. Is that why had such a scary face the day before? Naruto asked Asuna suspiciously. No, Ni-chan, that was because the weather was bad and it got me in bad mood, lied Naruto. Will you leave forever? Asked Lisbeth worriedly. No, of course not. I just need to investigate some matter there. Nothing dangerous, lied Naruto again, smiling cheerfully. That action pretty much managed to fool the girls, but not Kirito. He knew Naruto too well in this matter, so he was sure that Naruto is hiding something. Be careful back there, Naruto-kun. Then return to us ASAP, okay? Said Leafa and hugged Naruto. Naruto hugged her back and smiled solemnly. So in what game will you convert to? Asked Asuna curiously. Gun Gale Online. GGO for short. I will enter the tournament called Bob, so I'd appreciate it if you guys will watch and cheer for me, said Naruto. GGO huh? Naruto, can I talk to you in private? Asked Kirito looking at Naruto. Sure, said Naruto. Then they went to a tall tree not very fat from the girls. Okay, Naruto. Tell me the truth. There must be a very serious matter to make you act like the day before, said Kirito. What are you talking about? Asked Naruto pretending to still not understand what Kirito means. Stop pretending to be naive. There must be a serious matter to make you back to revert to the Hidakiri Batausai persona, shouted Kirito. Naruto just sighed, then looked up seriously. Okay, I should know from the start that I won't be able to hide anything from you. Do you know about the incident with the 3 skilled GGO players being looked by the other player within this game? Yeah, I've heard something like that. But what do you have to do with anything? On one of the corpse of the player was a hidden message. This is its context. 1AMW81NG4U, HB. What do you think it is? How the heck should I know? But the part with the number decipher like I am waiting for you. Who is the HB? I can't deduce. The answer will come to you eventually when you heard the third victim's avatar name. Maelstrom Batausai. Kirito widened his eyes at that. That's right, Kirito. The one that killed those 3 players was trying to force to GGO. You already deduced where he could be from to hold such a grudge against me, right? The survivor of Sao, muttered Kirito. That's not all. Do you remember the day the clearing party decided to wipe out Laughing Coffin? 10 members had managed to escape. Who do you think finished off those 10? Kirito remembered that day, and his face began to pale as he recalled he has killed 3 members of the Red Guild. Then he turned wide eyes at Naruto's question. But that actually not true. I met them in accident. After the marriage with Lisbeth, I head to the 74th floor to get the Ragu rabbit. When I decided to search in the dungeon, I met them. After that I killed 7 of members. I should kill all of them, but somehow the marriage with Lisbeth has made me soft. So I let them escape. The cost of my foolish action that day is the cost of 3 innocent players from GGO. And they were killed just so the message could be delivered to me. I must log in to finish what I start. Kirito. I must redeem my sin. What Death Gun was waiting for is not Naruto but Hidakiri Batausai. That's why I will revive him once again to end my dark past once and for all. Then let me log in with you as well. If that guy can actually kill in game, then with me there it will be easier to defeat him, proposed Kirito. No, I'll never believe in such a supernatural thing as that. There is definitely a trick to that. That's why I need you to be outside to help me in exposing his trick and killing people like that, said Naruto turning to Kirito. Okay. Just be careful. Even if that guy is using a trick to kill people, don't let him shoot you. You don't know for sure that you will not die, warned Kirito. Seriously, I know that, said Naruto, then watched as the girls began to approach them. In the morning hospital. Naruto is currently walking through corridor looking at the paper in his hand to find a certain room. When he reached the room 7025 he stopped and slowly opened the door. Excuse me, said Naruto walking in. Whoa. It's Naruto Uzumaki Yuuki himself in front of me, said the pretty nurse. She has chestnut brown hair like Asuna and a pretty busty figure. She has a pair of glasses on her eyes. Naruto just sweat drop at that. Ano, I am here to do investigation by the request of Kakauka-san. My name is Aki Natsuki. I will watch out your amazing body when you are in GGO, Naruto Kun, said Aki playfully with half-lit eyes. Naruto began to sweat even more at that. You know, I was put in charge when Kazuto-kun was in rehab. After that 4 eyes guy proposed me to help in doing investigation with you, I was like on the cloud from happiness. It's not every day that you can do as please with the body of the ideal man such as you, Naruto-kun, said Aki seductively and touching his rear. Aki-san, I would like to start the investigation right away, said Naruto sweet dripping nervously. Okay, then. It is already on the bed, please, take off your clothes, Naruto Kun. Naruto gulped nervously and asked. Is that really necessary? I am going to connect electrodes. Why do you even feel embarrassed? You have a godly body just by looking at you I know for sure, then can I only be topless? Asked Naruto, hopefully moh you are so shy. But okay, looking at you topless is enough for me, said Aki, pouted at first, then licking her lips. Hungrily Naruto felt nervous the wild time in the presence of such a pretty yet flirtatious nurse. He sighed knowing there is no escape now. He took off his black vest then the t-shirt underneath, exposing his athletic figure to Aki. Aki just looked at his figure with a blush in her face. Naruto went to the bed and lied down. Aki began to connect the electrodes but sometimes felt up Naruto's body. Naruto put the atmosphere in his head and said, well, then I will be going now. I will return in about 4 or 5 hours. Well, then I will take good care of your wonderful body, Naruto-kun, said Aki seductively and winking at him. Thanks. Just as Naruto prepared to log in, Aki moved to him and kissed him on the cheek and whispers. For luck. Naruto blushed a little then said link start with that his conscience began to transfer to the world of GGO. He decided to name his avatar Shin, short for Shinigami. GGO. Naruto opened his eyes and began to look around. So, this is what the world of guns look like. Naruto looked at his hand, then began to clench and unclench his knuckle. Then he turned back to look at the glass behind to inspect his new avatar. His new avatar has black, not very spiky hair. His eyes remain the same color. His appearance is that of black from To Love Rude. Seems the data from Menma gives me the black hair, muttered Naruto. Then he looked up at the dark sky and said, just you wait, Death Gun. Your worst nightmare had arrived to annihilate you. Unknown place. A figure was seen sitting in the chair and reading all the comments about Death Gun. When he finished reading, he closed the site and opened one file. There was 3 photos in the file. One was the face of Zexseed that was being marked by a cross. The second was Yasuji Otarako, his photo was in the same condition. The third photo is the only photo that was not marked. It was photo of Seinen. The figure touched the photo of Seinen through the panel and said, you will be my next target, my dear. Then he will appear and I will have my revenge. The figure was hid by the shadow, but you can still see his wide smirk. Chapter 4. Hades Revolver Shi. GGO. Shin. From now on Naruto will be called Shin when in GGO looked around him and thought it's pretty different from Halo. For now I need to get the attention of that Death Gun. But first need to find a suitable weapon, then register to Bob. Shin decided to move forward and find the Governor General office first. Suddenly, one strange-looking player that looks old appeared in front of him and said in "Hey, Nai-chan. That avatar. Is that the MX9999 type? The most coolest and rarest avatar that you can get in GGO. Even though there are not many female players in GGO, still with this avatar, you will definitely attract them. Thanks for explaining that to me, I guess, said Shin sweet-tripping nervously. I want to buy your account. How many do you want? I will buy at any price. Plead the player. This avatar is actually being convert. So I am sorry, but I can't sell it to you, said Shin. Is that so? Well, it's a shame then, said the player sadly. Well, I'll be going now, said Shin, and leave the player behind. If you rethink then come to me, shouted the player. As Shin walked down the street, there were some female players that whistled loudly at his look. The male players looked on his avatar with envy. Shin just sighed at all these, as it was too troublesome. Even in GGO, I am still attract the female population. Its destiny was searching for a while now and still couldn't find the path. Guess I'll have to ask someone or it will get me nowhere, thought Shin with a sigh. Suddenly, he looked up and saw an aqua-haired girl not far from him. He decided to calm her out. Seinen turned her head and saw a handsome black-haired boy was calling out to her. She pointed at herself when the boy nodded his head. She began to approach him. What do you want? Asked Seinen. Annoyed Shin blinked at the attitude, then shrugged his shoulder. I am a newbie in this game. Could you help me to find a gun shop in the Governor General office? Asked Shin, scratching the back of his head. Seinen just looked at Shin's beginner outfit and said coolly, I can see that by looking at your outfit. Why should I even help you? Shin just blinked again and decided to ask. Why do you so hostile to me? I haven't even do anything to you, or maybe you are not comfortable with a male. Seinen just looked at him, then sighed. Okay, I'll help you to find the gun shop, then I will be on my way. Thanks you so much. Said Shin happily and bowed down. Time skip. Shin and Seinen stood at the elevator and wait for it to move up. By the way, why do you want to do in Governor General office? Asked Seinen curiously. Well, I want to enter the tournament called Bullet of Bullets, answered Shin. Bob. You're only newbie and want to participate? Asked Seinen, surprised. This avatar is a concert from the other game. Its stats is enough to enter, Bob, answered Shin. Ho. Is that so? Then you will be my enemy, as I will also enter, Bob, said Seinen smirking. Then I am looking forward to face you, said Shin with a smirk as well. We are nearly there, said Seinen looking ahead of her. Market. Seinen brought Shin to a market. Shin looked at all the guns on the panel and found nothing suitable for him. Seinen turned back and said, well, I've brought you to the market, as promised, now you are on your own. As she was about to leave, Shin hurriedly took her hand, stopped her from leaving. Wait. Please, I need to know the direction to the Governor General office as well, so please help me to the end, then we will go to register together, plead. Shin Seinen is hesitating, for some reason she didn't feel uncomfortable with this guy. The only males that made her feel at ease are Kauji and Naruto. She sighed, then turned to Shin and said, "Okay, we will go together." "So did you find anything suitable?" Shin looked around and shook his head. "No, are there more weapons? Or only guns?" "Ha. We are playing GGO. Of course guns is the main weapon, what did you expect?" asked Seinen, raising her eyebrow. "Well, there is nothing that suit me here," said Shin. Frustrated, Seinen just sighed at Shin's inexperience and began to lecture him. "Listen, here. In GGO, there are two types of weapons. Energy and physical weapons. Energy weapons are light and accurate, but its shooting speed is slower than the physical ones. That's why it only used when fighting monsters. If you are entering Bob, then it's better to use physical ones. Also, there are rare weapons that has the Roman numeral engrave on it. Those guns has the ability to shoot a railgun, the shoot of course is limited. Oh. Thanks you for explaining to me," said Shin in awe. "So, what are your stats?" asked Seinen. Mostly speed then strength," said Shin, putting his finger on his chin. "So, the strength agility type, huh? Well then maybe a heavy assault rifle. Or the large caliber machine gun as main weapon and a handgun as the sub-weapon," advised Seinen. Shin paled at carrying such a weapon. He shook his head, then remembered something. "Yo, you said something about the rare guns that has the Rome numbers on it, right?" asked Shin. "Yido, you know where I could obtain one of them? Well, you could go to the dungeon and kill a boss, or there is an automate that drop it, though the dropping rate is extremely low," said Seinen. "Well, then I would like to try my luck," said Shin, smirking. "There are millions of people and no one has ever managed to obtain one. What makes you think you can do it? Also, you need more cash with the starter sum. You won't be able to buy anything," said Seinen. "Yeah, you are right. Then do you know where I could get more cash very quick?" asked Shin, looking at Seinen hopefully. "Well, there are casinos and gambling games. Then there is one place called Untouchable, see that?" said Seinen, and pointing behind Shin. There was a mechanical gunman standing at the back. "Above him is the amount of money that you can win. Well, I will go to the casino later, but that gamble game looks fun. I'd like to try it out," said Shin with excitement. "Yo, you won't try. It's impossible to win. Once it past the 8-meter line, he starts doing these cheap speed draws. By try time you see the prediction line it will be already too late." "Prediction lines?" asked Shin curiously. "Watch, someone is about to add to the pool," whispers Seinen to Shin. "The player that looks like a regular American soldier, press the start button." The gunman at the back declared, "I am gonna blast you from here to the moon." The crowd began to gather to watch someone to fail again. Seinen and Shin watched the scene as well. "I am gonna clear this today," declared the player when the timer had ended. He immediately began to rush forward, then stopped suddenly and made a ridiculous pose. "What the heck is he doing?" asked Shin with a sweat drop. Back to the scene, the gunman began to shoot, but because of the prediction lines, it all missed. "So that is the prediction line," muttered Shin with interested. "Yes, it's the bullet line that helped the player to see where the bullet will be shoot, only the first of the sniper don't show the prediction line. The player managed to dodge until he reached the 8 line. The gunman began to recharge his weapon quickly and shoot at impressive speed. The player couldn't keep up with the speed and was shot down. Just did he lose his bet money. The sum had reached to 30,200. "You can't move far to the left and right. So you are limited in the center. Do you still want to challenge that gunman?" asked Seinen, looking at Shin. "I get it, when you notice the prediction lines is already too late. But what if I could where the bullet will shot next, before the prediction line appears?" "Yes, I can do it," muttered Shin and began to walk to the untouchable. "Hey, didn't I told that is impossible," said Seinen. Shin pressed the started button and looked at the gunman intently. "Oh why, look at newbie is gonna try," said the player that has failed before. "Well, he'll failed anyway, but let's look at this humiliation." From behind the crowd, there was one dark-skinned girl watching Shin with interested. When the timer has ended, Shin began to rush at ridiculous speed. The gunman began to shoot at him. The prediction lines appeared on Shin's body, but he didn't notice it as he concentrated on watching the bullets. To him the bullets was flying to him in slow motion. Shin dodged the bullets with ease and began to smirk confidently. Then he began speed up even more and doing the zigzag movement. The gunman was firing at ridiculous speed to the other players, but Shin could see clearly where the bullet will head next. Only 5 meters was left. Shin decided to jump up high and began to propel downwards to the gunman with great speed. The gunman tried his hardest to shoot Shin down, but Shin saw through all his movement and dodged in midair with ease. Then Shin landed next to the shocked gunman and said game over. With that all the money began to pour from the house behind. All the while, the crowd were so shocked they were speechless at what they just witnessed. Seinen also looking at Shin with wide eyes. The dark-skinned girl also looked surprised, then she smirked. A newbie and possesses such skills. You have interested me. Grit listened and decided to break the silence. How did you do that? Shin just turned to her and winked, then said, a magician never reveals his tricks. Whoa, the heck is that guy? Nobody has managed to even pass the 8 line, yet he passes with such ease. Seinen still looked at Shin in shock. The dark-skinned girl decided that she had seen enough and turned to leave. Shin approached Seinen and said, well, let's go. I've have enough cash for now. Seinen just nodded her head, still very shocked, and followed him. Shin looking around the market until he saw something that caught his attention. Seinen turned to the direction that he was looking at and said, those are the photon swords. They are used to deflect the bullets. Though nobody use it as a main weapon. Why is that? Asked Shin curiously. Because this is a shooting game, by the time you get close, you will be blown apart, explained Seinen. But I think this sword will actually suit my style, said Shin, and pressed on the buy button. He chose the blue color and wait for the robot to appear to deliver his sword. The robot appeared. He delivered the sword to Shin and said thank you for purchasing the product, then it leave them. Shin activated the sword and smirking widely, then he tried out some moves. Seinen looking at him with the sword and actually think he looked cool. Well, you have the photon sword now. What else do you want to purchase? Remember, you still need to keep the money for the bulletproof vest and battle outfit, reminds Seinen. Let's go for the automate, where the rare guns are, said Shin. Are you sure? I told you already the drop rate is very low. Maybe you should find the other gun, asked Seinen to make sure of Shin's decision. I want to try my luck, said Shin, with a smirk. You are such a stubborn idiot, said Seinen with a sigh and rubbing her temples. At the gun automate. There were many people gathered there, each want to win the rare gun with the Roman numeral on it. The guns with numeral were limited by 13 only. Some had spent all his money on the automate and punched it in frustration. After a while, Shin's turn has come. He put a certain amount of money, then pressed the start button. The automate began to roll, then something dropped from it. Shin picked it up and inspected the item. The people around and even Seinen looked in shock. Just one roll and he managed to get the Hades revolver. The revolver has made by the Aura Helcom, so it can deflect the bullets with no problem. Not only that, it has the function to shoot railgun. The murmur began. Look, the newbie had managed to get a hold on the Hades revolver. Does this guy has the luck of devil? And he only rolled one time. While I spend all my money on the automation, ignored the murmur and hold Hades in his hand and muttered, such a strange feeling. It's like I've used this gun my whole life. Seinen snapped out from her shock and decided to approach Shin first, the untouchable, then this. How do you do it? Asked Seinen with incredulous look. I am just that special, said Shin with a smirk. Seinen began to feel irritated his arrogance. Well, now let's go to buy you a defensive field to use against blasters and the armor, said Seinen. Armor? I won't need that. It will hinder my movements, said Shin, waving his hand in dismiss. Seinen just blinked at that and sighed again. She felt so tired. Hang with this guy. You just give me the headache. Do you want to try that gun? Shin nodded his head eagerly. Then follow me. Practicing place. Seinen and Shin walked to a certain place to try out the Hades. Do you know how to fire? Asked Seinen. A little, said Shin, and raised the Hades to aim at the target in front of him. If you are shooting for the first, it's better that you hold the gun with both hands. When you aim at the target, there should be a circle display. That is the offensive assist system, bullet circle. The more the circle, the more is your missing rate. Just stay calm, and when the circle is smaller, then shoot, explained Seinen. Shin did as he was told and shoot at the target. After the shot, Seinen pressed a button to make the target move closer to them so they could see the result. There was a hole in the far right of the target. Not bad for a beginner, said Seinen. Well, it's all thanks to you for explaining to me. You are such a good teacher, said Shin, and grinned foxily. Seinen turned her head away from him in embarrassment. It was nothing. By the way, what time is it? We need to register to Bob. Did you forget? Reminds Seinen. Yeah, it's 14:50 now, said Shin looking at the watch and menu. Crap, we only have 10 minutes left, shouted Seinen in panic. 10 minutes. It's enough to get there, said Shin and picked Seinen bridal style and began to run with ridiculous speed. Seinen suddenly was in his arms, blushed and shouted at him, what the heck do you think you are doing? Put me down this instant. With my speed we will reach the field with bikes and head to the Governor General office faster. So just enjoy the ride, said Shin, running and looking at Seinen's face with a wink. When they reached the bike field, Shin put Seinen on the sit behind and said, hold on to me tight, okay? I am gonna go with max speed. We will be there in no time. With it, he activated the bike and propelled forward like a rocket towards the destination. Seinen was holding tight at Shin's waist. She was not used to this kind of speed. Then she began to get used to it and began to laugh heartily. Wow, this feels great. Such incredible feeling. You are very cute when you laugh like that, said Shin with a soft smile in his face. Seinen just blushed and turned her head away from him. Chapter 5. Sageki no Mana and Confrontation. Shin and Seinen are rushing on the buggy with max speed to the Governor General office with hope that they didn't late. After 5 minutes of driving, they finally managed to reach the destination. Shin looked at the clock and sighed in relief. We still have 5 minutes left and we are still not late yet. This way, said Sinon in hurry, then grabbed Shin's sleeve and dragged him with her. Oh oi, wait a minute, Shin only managed to say as Sinon was dragging him away. Inside. Sinon is dragging Shin behind her. While Shin was watching in awe at all the sight in front of him. Then Shin began to look around and saw different people, wore various kind of outfit. One of them somewhere out there is Death Gunson and snapped him out of his thought when they reached panel terminal here. You can register to the tournament here. It's a normal touch panel terminal. Do you know how to use it? Asked Sinon crossing her hands. Yeah, it looks simple, said Shin looking at the panel terminal. I'll be out there. When you finished, come to me, said Sinon pointed at the place not far from him. Shin read the text on the panel, then pressed entry. Then the lines appeared that need to enter the user personal information appeared. Shin surprised at this and thought I need to enter my real information here then. He read the attention line and saw that he can leave it blank, but then he won't be able to get the top prizes. He thought very long and recalled the incident with the 3 victims, then wondered if there were any connections here. He was so deep in thought that he didn't notice a figure approach him from behind. Excuse me, said a voice behind him. Shin twitched in surprise at the voice and pressed the Y button on instinct. Turn back. Yeah, what can help you, said Shin. Then he looked to whom he was talking to and saw a very attractive dark-skinned girl was standing in front of him. I saw your performance at the Untouchable and felt really impressed at your skills. Can I know your name? My name is Mana, by the way, said Mana, smiling. Politly. She is Tatsumi Yamana from Najima. Oh, I am Shin. Nice to meet you, Mana-san, said Shin. So you are participating in Bob as well, huh? I am looking forward to see your performance at Mana. Did you not participating as well, Mana-san? Asked Shin blinking. Of course, but my match will end very quickly, like always. I want to see your ability in battle, Shin-san, said Mana pointing at Shin. Shin just wondered why she said like always, but then he looked closely at her. Normal person won't be able to say how strong she is by the look, but Shin is different. He can feel the aura that emanating from this girl. She is very strong. Her strength could be compared to Kirito or even on par with himself. Then a shout not far from him was heard. Are you done? Or you are so incompetent that you can't even register to the tournament, shouted Sinon and tried to make a fool out of Shin. I am done already. I am just talking with a girl here, Shin shouted back in white. Sinon, hearing the girl comment, decided to approach where he stood and was surprised at who is standing with Shin there. Aren't you the one the people call Sajeki no Mana or Mana of twin shots? I never expect to see you in Bob, said Sinon looking at the girl. I think it's the first time we met, he Kate. Yeah, I decided to register to the Bob as being a mercenary is pretty boring. Well, I'll be going now. It's good to meet you, Shin-san. I am looking forward to face you two on the battlefield, said Mana. Then she turned back, waving her hand as she left. Yo, you know who she is? Asked Shin curiously. Only through rumors. She didn't play very often and only performs the mercenary job. The people call her Mana of twin shots because when she killed, she only shot on shot from her guns and the victim is dead. She is extremely dangerous, her ability to dodge bullets may be even on par of yours or even greater. I just hope that I don't need to face her in qualifying round, said Sinon with narrowing eyes. Muttered Shin with excitement in his eyes. By the way, do you know in which block are you? Asked Sinon. Shin looked at the panel and answered. Yeah, F37. I am in F12. We will meet each other in the finals anyway. Then I will kick your butt for carrying me without permission, said Sinon and pointed Shin's face. Oh, and I thought you enjoyed it, said Shib teasingly. Sinon just turned her head away and stomped to the direction of the qualifying area. Oh, wait a minute. Shouted Shin and ran to catch up to Sinon. Qualified area. When Sinon and Shin walked inside, they saw that most people there was holding guns, then they turned the attention to them with a scary look. Shin just looked around calmly. Some people that recognized him began to murmur to themselves. Look. Isn't it the kid that got the Hades revolver? Yeah, it's definitely him. Man, I wondered how lucky is that kid to actually got it on the first try. Seems you are already pretty famous with a gun alone, said Sinon, looking from the corner of her eyes back at him. Shin just sigh at the attention. It becomes so much more troublesome now. Let's go to the waiting room. You need to equip that black cloak you bought. But I will change first, then you will be second, understand? If you are even trying to peek, said Sinon, then threatening Shin with a scary smirk. Shin just nodded his head rapidly while his face was pale. Inside the waiting room, Sinon sat down, then sighed. Man, those guys are such idiots. Who the heck is showing off your main weapon 30 minutes before the fight? Then Sinon pressed the button and her clothes disappeared, leaving her only in underwear. That moment the door opened and Shin walked in and said, I almost forgot to ask. What is your name? Finished Shin the sentence lamely, then he began to pale and blush at the sight of Seinen in her underwear. Seinen looked at him in fury with a blush and shouted in rage. Who the heck give you the permission to come in? She covered herself, then leaped at Shin and slapped him hard. Then kicked him in the nuts and shoved him outside. Shin was holding his injured part with wide eyes and mumbled that was too cruel. Time skip. Seinen just walking ahead of Shin with an annoyed look on her face. Shin was crying comically and still sometimes hold his sensitive part. He wears a black cloak, underneath was nothing, only have a collar on his neck Black's outfit. Don't follow me, I'm sorry. It's just don't follow me, but I didn't know your name and I don't know what to do next. Seinen stopped, then looked at him with a corner of her eyes and sigh loudly. Alright, I will explain to you one time, then we are enemies. Thank you, said Shin gratefully. Don't get me wrong. I just want to kick your butt myself. Once that countdown hits 0, all the entrants here will be automatically transferred to a battlefield containing them and their first round opponent. The field itself is a 1 km square region. The retain, weather and time are random. You'll start a minimum of 500 meters apart. Once the match ends, the winner is sent back here. The loser is sent to the first floor hall. In Block F, there are 64 people. So 5 victories takes you to the finals. Then you can participate in the main tournament, that is Battle Royale, explained Seinen. Thank you. Oh, I still haven't introduced myself right. I am Shin. Nice to meet you, said Shin, then bowed his head down. You better get to the finals. I won't forgive you if you lose before facing me. I am Seinen, remember that name, cause I will take you down, said Seinen looking at Shin with a cold look. It was only the accident. You shouldn't think that much about that, said Shin nervously scratching the neck of his head. The way Mana is in C block, so we won't face her here. That's all, we won't talk to each other anymore, so bye, said Seinen, then prepared to stand up. But the long silver hair guy decided to join them. You are pretty late, Seinen. I was worried you wouldn't make it, said the guy to Seinen. Spiegel. I got caught up to something unexpected. Didn't you say you weren't going to enter? Said Seinen, greeting him, then moved aside so Spiegel could sit next to her. Spiegel sat down, scratched his head and said, I thought it might be a pain, but I came to cheer you on. You can watch the match on the big screen after. I'll be the way. What do you mean by something unexpected? I just showing this guy the way here as he is a newbie, answered Seinen, rolled her eyes aside. Nice to meet you, said Shin scratching his head. Whoa. The Avatar model MX9999. That's very rare. You are so lucky, said Spiegel in awe. Thanks I guess, said Shin uncomfortably from afar. Mana was observing Shin. She has changed her gear and her new gear gained a lot of attentions because the surrounding players around her are males. She wears a leather black top that expose her midriff, black panties and a white jeans that exposing her panties. She also wore a long white cloak that reach her feet. Mana's outfit is her Vulnerin semi-diabolic Paksho outfit. Well, Seinen has helped me out a lot and I am grateful for that, said Shin looking at Seinen and smile. Seinen just turned her head away, then said, I didn't help you in anything. Also, who the heck give you permission to call me by the name? Haha, you are just in deny. Stop being so cold and accept the fact that you are attracted to me, said Shin with arrogant smirk. Seinen hearing snapped and pointed the smirking face of Shin. Who the heck is attracting to you? You are so arrogant, stubborn and simple-minded idiot. Shouted Seinen, leaning her head forward and snapping at Shin. She was about to continue ranting at Shin, but the announcement was made that the third tournament of Bob has began and after the entry, all players that have registered will be transported to the first round field map. Just as the crowd began to cheer loudly and shoot in the air, Seinen stood up from her sit, then point her finger at Shin and declared, "Get to the finals. Then I will kick your butt so hard that you will remember for the rest of your life." Shin just smirking arrogantly and said, "If you want to battle me so much then I won't disappoint you." Then he stood up and began to walk to the area. He stopped and looked at the corner of his back to Seinen and said seriously, "But I am warning you. When on the battlefield, I am a whole new person." Seinen just wondered about what he said and was about to ask what did he mean. Shin suddenly was transporting away from the place. Unknown place. Shin was standing at the dark place with only the glowing orange pentagram underneath him. He looked at the panel ahead of him that writes Shin versus Uemura remaining time. 56 seconds field. Lost ancient temple. Shin equip the blue Kagemitsu G4 and Hades revolver Shi and wait for the time to pass. Seinen as Shino-chan and GG. Guess she play this game in order to overcome her bloody past. Count has turned 0 and Shin was teleport to his battlefield. Lost ancient temple. Shin looked around him, then he breathed in and out, then said finally, "After a year I have returned to the battlefield. This anxiety, this field. I hope my opponent can actually entertain me for a while." Shin began to walk ahead slowly looking around for his opponent. Suddenly, he heard the sound at the forest and turned there. Uemura thought his position was exposed and opened fire from his rifle. Shin saw that all the bullets were aiming at his body very clearly. He took out his photon sword, activate it and deflect the bullets with ease. Then he tapped his forehead with index finger and looking at the direction of Uemeru was shocked that this guy managed to deflect all the bullets. Then he gritted his teeth in anger as Shin tapping his forehead inviting him to shoot there. That action is pretty much mocking him. Uemeru began to fire more shots, this time aiming at Shin's head. Shin just looked at the bullets flying to him and deflect with his sword once more. Not a single bullet has touched him. Uemeru felt shock once more. Who the heck is the guy that has such ability? Oi, is that all you got? I thought things will be more fun. Guess I am gonna finish this quickly, said Shin with a bored look and voice. Uemeru began to feel even more furious at this arrogant bastard. He threw a grenade at Shin and shot at it. The grenade detonated right in front of Shin. Uemeru began to smirk and thought that he has won. Then he felt something pressed against his head from behind. He looked back from the corner of his eyes fearfully and met the cold ruthless eyes of Shin. Tremble in fear and go to hell, said Shin with a voice so cold that Uemeru actually shivered. Then he pressed the trigger and blew Uemeru's head away. Then the panel appeared and right, congratulations, Shin wins. That was boring. I hope the other 4 matches will be more challengingly, muttered Shin disappointed with the battle. Then he was teleported away to the starter area. Starter area. Shin has just teleported back. Then he looked around and saw that Mana is approaching him. When she is in front of him she said "WOW, never knew you could use a photon sword skilled like that. Congratulations on your first win," said Mana. Thank you. But did you already win your match, Mana-san? Asked Shin. Yeah, 20 minutes ago, answered Mana. "WOW, you defeats your opponent in 5 minutes. I am impressed," said Shin in awe. Then he noticed the new gear on Mana and blushed. Mana noticed that and smirked teasingly and asked "So what do you think? Is it suit me well?" Shin just nodded his head rapidly. Then he looked at the screens hovering above them and asked, "I wonder where is Seinen? Are you worrying about her?" Asked Mana, raising her eyebrow. "No, she won't lost in the qualifying round. I am just curious about her location," said Shin. Suddenly, he jumped back as he felt a presence behind him. Mana also looked at his back with narrowing eyes. At the back of Shin stood no other than Death Gun. Are you that person? Asked Death Gun slowly. Shin looked at Death Gun closely and began to analyze. So this is Death Gun. Indeed, he remind me of someone. That strange black cloak. Why did he always wear so that it hide all his body and face? What do you mean by that person? Asked Shin, suppressing his anger he is feeling just by looking at Death Gun. Death Gun began to approach Shin slowly. That caused Shin to take out his photon sword. "I saw your fight. You used the sword mainly, right? Those eyes, that sword, that mastery. I'll ask again. Are you that person?" Shin began to recall the 3 members and compare them to Death Gun. But he can't recall much as it was 2 years ago. Mana just stood there and watching the scene in silence with narrowed eyes. Suddenly, Death raises his hand, slightly exposing the mark of laughing coffin. Shin, seeing that mark, eyes widen in rage and the killing intent began to leak out of him in waves. He recalled all the people that was killed by laughing coffin, how Kirito nearly killed Kirito in front of his eyes, how Po had managed to injure him. He began to glare at Death Gun. There is no mistake now. This is the revenge of laughing coffin against me. Chapter 6, Strength Beyond Virtual World. There is an uncomfortable silence between Death Gun and Shin. Death Gun just looked at Shin, while Shin is glaring at Death Gun slightly. "I repeat once again. Are you that person?" Shin tried to calm himself down as much as he can and asked, "What do you mean by that person? I don't understand. What are you trying to ask? Who are you anyway?" "You really don't understand?" Shin just nodded his head slowly. "Then that's fine. But whether you are that person or just an imitator, I will kill you," said Death Gun before walking away. When Death Gun passed him, Shin's eyes widen in rage and clutch his knuckle tightly. "Why can I recall him? He is definitely one of those 3. But it's been 2 years already, so I can't recall their face. Kuzo, I am so frustrated now," thought Shin angrily and punches the wall. Mana decided to approach Shin and asked if he was okay. "Are you alright? Who is that guy?" Shin turned his head to Mana and said, "Remember this, Mana. If you ever meet the person with black cloak and a skeleton mask, stay away from him as far as possible," said Shin seriously. Mana just blinked in surprise at the statement. That moment Seinen decided to walk to him. "Wow, you don't look like you are tired. What's with your expression?" Asked Seinen. Shin turned to Seinen and warned her also. "Wow, you too, Seinen. Don't ever trying to face the guy in skeleton mask and black cape. He is Death Gun. The one that could truly kill you, Earl. No matter how sure you are that you can win. Never approach or try to shoot him down. Not only you will failed, but he will turn his attention to you as well." Seinen just turned her head away and said, "I don't need you to worry about me. Just get to the." But she was interrupted by Shin's shout. "That is not a joke. If you want to live you will listen to my warning." Seinen and Mana looked surprised at Shin. He never been this serious before, just joke around and being a team. Then he was transported away to his second match. Round 2, Battlefield. Shin appeared at the battlefield and began to recall the face of Death Gun. His blood began to boil by just the memory. The bullets began to head at him with great speed. Shin's eyes were shadowed by the shadow, and he just took out his photon sword and on instinct, deflected all the bullets. Death gun, muttered Shin, walked slowly to his opponent. His opponent continued to shoot at him, but no use. All the bullets were deflected, Shin hasn't been injured even once. Death gun. Shin continued to move to his opponent, with the hair still shadowing his eyes. Then he looked up and his eyes gleamed dangerously. He disappeared from his place and appeared right in front of his opponent. His opponent was too shocked to say anything. He could only look into those merciless eyes of Shin. Eliminate, said Shin emotionlessly and used his photon sword and took off the opponent's head. Then he looked down at the headless avatar of his avatar with the same expression. Time skip round 4 battlefield. While his opponent was hiding and tried to ambush his opponent, Shin was walking slowly to his opponent with a cold smirk on his face. His opponent began to fire at Shin upon seeing his target is near him. Shin smirking a cold smirk the whole time and deflecting the bullets. His opponent decided to throw a grenade at Shin. Before the grenade managed to explode, Shin jumps up in the air and deflect the grenade to his opponent. His opponent was shocked at that action and the grenade detonated right in front of him. At the starter area. People looked at the fights on the screens. They looked at the screen of Shin's battle and noticed that he was not injured, not even once. Seinen, Spiegel and Mana watching Shin's match very intently. He was not injured even once. His skills with the sword is mind-blowing, said Mana looking at the match. Not only that, he didn't even use his gun. What the heck is that guy to possess such skills? Asked Spiegel, very impressed by Shin's performance. Seinen just looked at the match in silence and thought his strength. That is the strength beyond virtual world. I want to win against him so badly now. If I can win against such a strong guy, then maybe I can even surpass Naruto-san. Maybe then I can overcome my past and live a normal life. He is in the semi-final already. If you want to face him, you need to win as well. Good luck, Seinen, said Spiegel, and wish her luck. Round 5 battlefield. Seinen is on the roof of one building. She opened her monocular on the Hecate and waited for her opponent to show himself. She aimed her rifle on the road below. My opponent is Stinger. He uses an FN Scar carbine rifle as his main weapon. Since I am a sniper, if he gets close to me, I'll have no chance. But on this map, if he wants to get close to me, he has to pass through there. Then I'll finish him off. And prepared to snipe. Then she remembered Shin's matches. He said something that when on battlefield he is a completely different person. It seems I begin to understand what he meant. Suddenly, Seinen heard a sound and shoot from her Hecate. But she was fooled by her opponent. Seinen looked surprised at that. Suddenly, a military car appeared and began to move ahead. So that's it. He wanted me to water my first shot to make me expose my position and use that chance to get close to Messen and quickly recharge her rifle and aimed it at the window of the car, but I can still saw the first bullet's path. My second shot will be even more accurate with Seinen opened fire and shot through the window, killing the player inside as well. The car slammed into the building in front of it and explodes. Then the panel appeared that right, congratulations, Seinen wins. With that, Seinen was transported to the preparing area. She looked up at the panel that right, Seinen vs Shinfield. Intercontinental Highway. Seinen narrowed her eyes in determination and waited for the time to pass. Final ring battlefield. Seinen just appeared to the battlefield. She looked around to determine where Shin will appear. Then she ran inside the bus and waited for her target to appear. He will certainly trying to get close to me unnoticed, like others. But his reaction time and dodging bullets surpass anyone that I know, but the shot of Hecate is different. It is far accurate and faster than other weapons. My chance is the first shot when he doesn't know my location, thought Seinen, and prepared to snipe her target when he will appear. She looked into the monocular ahead and thought this time if I manage to defeat such a strong person, maybe for ahead of Seinen location. Shin just walked ahead to her with the hair shadowed his eyes. Seinen looked through her monocular and thought incredulously, does he think he can dodge my bullets whenever he wants? Shin continued to move to her location. Seinen began to shoot at him through her Hecate. Shin saw the bullets coming at him clearly and moved his head aside to dodge. Seinen was shocked at that action. How can he dodge my shot from Hecate easily like that? She began to fire at him multiple times. This time Shin just walked forward and all the bullets just missed him with incredible way. Seinen began to feel shock even more. Who the heck is he? Does he not fear death at all? How can I win against such a person? Seinen began to pant heavily. Shin decided to look up and showed his face. That was not the face of Hidakiri Batausai, but the face of Naruto Yuki Uzumaki. Seinen began to shot more from Hecate, but all the shots missed as she has lost her calm expression. Shin just stood there and looked at her location the whole time. The more she shoots, the more she missed. And it began to frustrate her. She decided to step out from her hiding place to confront Shin. Why can't I shoot you? Why all my shots missed you? Shouted Seinen, glaring daggers at Shin. The reason is simple. Deep in your heart, you began to care for me. That's why you can't shoot at me, Seinen. No, Shino-chan, said Shin, looking at Seinen's face. Seinen's eyes began to widen, hearing her real name was called by this person. How the heck do you know my real name? And what nonsense are you talking about? Me? Caring for you? Shouted Seinen, pointing at Shin. Anyway, if it were an hours ago, I will accept it to fight you seriously. But the situation has changed. I just want to get to main tournament. I don't want to fight you here. As for how do I know your real name? I think you already have realized by yourself who I am by the way I call you, right? Said Shin, walking slowly to Seinen. Seinen recalled the only person called her Shino-chan was Naruto. She widened her eyes and muttered, Naruto, why are you in GGO? Why didn't you tell that you log in? Shin just nodded his head in affirmative and said, My identity should remain a secret. It's a long story why I logged in GGO. For short, I was invited here by Death Gun in order to be killed by him. Also, I am here to correct my past mistake, answered Shin. Why? Why don't you want to fight me? Am I so weak that you not even bother to consider fighting? Shouted Seinen with tears running down her eyes. No, I know you are strong, Shino-chan. The reason is that you are my precious friend as well. And I don't want to hurt my precious people even in the virtual game, said Shin, and smiling softly at her, I want to become strong. I want to make Seinen stronger than you and Sao, that's why I need to fight stronger people to become stronger. But no matter how strong I become, your strength just overwhelmed mine with ease. How do you manage to obtain such strength? I need it in order to overcome my bloody past. Shouted Sinid desperately. Shin's eyes was shadowed by his hair again. This strength has a very high cost. Hundreds of people and Sao was dead for me to obtain this strength. This strength I am possesses is cursed, Shino-chan. Because of this strength I have a split personality. Myself and Hidakiri Batausai. I told you already, Shino-chan, true strength come when you are protecting the precious people to you, said Shin. I don't have any precious people. I am alone my whole life. But even so I will become stronger, said Seinen with determination. Shin just sighed, then took out his Hades. Seinen seeing that and prepared to fight. But Shin just raised his hand to tell her calm down. He took out the bullet and showed Seinen, then said, I will give you one more chance to defeat me. This time concentrate all your concentration on this shot. We will do it duel style. We'll move 10 meters away and you'll ready your rifle and me my sword. I will toss this bullet up and when it hits the ground, the match begins. How does that sound? Seinen just blinked her eyes and replied, listen, at a mere 10 meters. Even you won't be able to dodge the shot from this Hecate. At this range, it has 100% hit rate. Shin just smirked at her and said, We won't know until we try. Seinen just looked at his confident face and thought, does he actually some kind of plan? I want to see what is it. No matter what talk, I accept that challenge. We can finish things this way, said Seinen. With that, Shin began to move away from her to a certain distance. Seinen recharged her rifle and aimed at Shin. Shin showed the bullet and tossed it in the air. Then he took out his photon sword and stood in a stance. As the bullet hits the ground, Seinen opened fire from her Hecate. Shin pointed the tip of his sword to the ground and muttered, Heighten Mitsurugi Ryu. Doryasan with it, the earth and debris created by Doryasan, blow the bullet of Seinen away with knocking force that just impossible. Muttered Seinen and falling in her knees and shocked. She snapped out of her shock and took out her gun from behind. Suddenly, she felt the sword on her neck. Shin was standing behind her holding her waist. I was aiming at your leg. How do you know that I will fire there? Asked Seinen. Would you believe me if I said I could see where the bullet was fired clearly, said Shin and turned her around so that he could look at her face. He did not predicted where I will shot. But could see it clearly. How can that even be possible? He really deserved to be a legend. This strength is the strength that far surpassed the virtual world, thought Seinen at shock and in awe. If you are this strong. That what makes you so work up? Asked Seinen silently. Even the strongest afraid of death, Shino-chan. I warned you about the skeleton mask guy because he could kill for real. Of course it is a trick, but that doesn't change the fact that he could kill you in real life through the game. He is after me. I am his main target. That's why I wanted you to stay away from him as far as possible, said Shin, leaned his forehead to her and looked deeply in her eyes. Seinen just blushed, but also looked into his ocean eyes. Listen, Shino-chan. Seinen and you are one and the same. You must believe in yourself. Seinen is not strong enough to defeat me because she is missing a part of her. When you become complete by accepting the fact that you are one and the same, you will become much stronger than you are now, said Shin, touching her chin gently. Seinen just looked at him silently. Then he backed away and said, Oh, and the main tournament, don't approach me. I will be very different from what I know. On the main tournament, Hidakiri Batausai will be officially revived, said Shin emotionlessly and his eyes gleaming dangerously. Seinen just widened her eyes at the change of his expression and eyes. Shin's face returned to normal and he said, grinning, well, I win the duel. So you should forfeit. No. Seinen blinked, then glaring daggers at Shin. She pointed her finger at Shin and declared, I won't lose anymore. So prepare yourself with that. She opened the resign menu and surrendered. At the starter area people saw who was the winner and felt shock. Someone had managed to win against Kate. Mana smirked at this and said, I can't wait to face you on the battlefield at the main tournament, Shin-san. Only by defeating you, I will be satisfied. Far from them, Death Gun watched the match and witnessed the performance of Dorison. There is no mistake now. He is definitely Hidakiri Batausai. The main tournament will be your grave. Ha 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 ha. Chapter 7. Countdown to the deadly encounter. Go starter area. Shin has reappeared back at the area. Sinan was already logged out of frustration. Shin looked around the area, then stopped. You gaze at Mana. He decided to approach her. On the way, he accidentally looked aside and saw the glowing red eyes of Death Gun in the crowd. His eyes widened at that and he began to curse himself in his mind. Kuzo, I was too careless and now he knew my identity. But I didn't have other choice. The last shot that Shino-chan performed was very dangerous. Even if I said that I could see where the bullet was heading, didn't mean that I could actually dodge that shot. That's why the only way to deflect that shot was to perform Dorison. PGM Ultima Ratio Hikate 2, what a fearsome weapon. If I was a lesser player, there was no way I could have deflect that shot. I need to think of the plan immediately. Or else his life will be forfeit. Mana saw that Shin approach her and decided to congratulate him. Congratulations on being the winner of the F-block, Shin-san said. Mana, thanks. But I am here for a favor. Well, what can I help you? You are a mercenary. So you must know the place where you could order the custom weapon, right? Asked Shinya. Why do you ask? I want to order a new weapon. Could you please took me to the place where you can order the custom weapon? Said Shin. Okay, I will show you the way. But only if you promise that we will fight in the main tournament one-on-one, said Mana, smirking sexily. I know you would say something like that. Okay, I accept, said Shin, smiling at her. With that, Shin and Mana walked out of the Governor General office. Luke's Super Weapon Shop. Shin and Mana stopped at the door that read Luke's Super Weapon Shop. Shin looked at the panel and sweat dropped in I'm style. Mana just grinned at him and said, yeah. The owner of this shop is pretty self-conscious. But he can make a very high-quality weapons with that. They came inside. Shin looked at the cellar cabin and saw a boy his age with brown hair, a ponytail at his back. He wore a white shirt and a black cape over it and blue pants. Luke Ainsworth from Seekin No Blacksmith. Yo, Luke. I've brought you a new client here, greeted Mana and pointed her finger behind at Shin. Mana. Long time no see. A new client, huh? So what do you need, dear customer? Luke greeted Mana, then turned to Shin to ask him a question. Shin approached the cabin, took out his Kagemitsu G4 and said, I'd like for you to recreate this Kagemitsu G4 to a katana with sheath. The sharp edge of the blade will be made of photon beam. Can you do it? The price didn't matter. I will pay you any price. Luke took the photon sword and inspected for a while. Then he turned to Shin and replied, that won't be a problem. Though the cost will be pretty high as this is custom made. But you really surprised me. Why do you using a sword in GGO? Shin looked at Luke and said, well, let's just say I wield a sword better than a gun. And I have my own reason to log in GGO. Anyway, it's a pleasure to do business with you, Luke said Shin and bowed his head. Me too. The sword will be ready by tomorrow. You participate in Bob, right? Shin just nodded his head. I will try to deliver it to you in time. Thank you very much. With that, Shin and Mana left the place. On the way, Shin decided to ask Mana a favor. Mana-san, I want to face Death Gun one-on-one. If by some chance, Sinan decided to interfere. I want you to, said Shin, then paused a little to close his eyes. He sighed and decided to finish the sentence. Kill her. Mana widened her eyes at that and decided to ask. Why would you like for me to kill her? Doesn't she important to you? I thought that you will try to protect her. It's because she is important to me that I need her to stay away from that battle. Death Gun has already found out about my identity. That's why I want you to promise me that if she decided to intervene, kill her. I wouldn't be able to do it myself. That's why I am asking you to do that for me. And when I kill Death Gun, we will have a match as I promised, explained Shin. His reason. Mama just looked at Shin for a while, then said, okay, if that's what you must do to protect her, then I will help you. But I won't forgive you if you by some chance killed by Death Goonie. Promise that I will have a match with you, right? I never go back on my words. Well, I'll log out now. See you tomorrow, Mana-san, said Shin and pressed the logged out button. Hospital. Naruto opened his eyes and saw a very strange scene in front of him. The nurse Aki's head was on his bare chest and she was drooling. Naruto's sweat dropped but also blushing madly as her chest moved up and down. Naruto shook his head to clear his head. That moment Aki decided to wake up and rubbing her eyes. She yawned and looked sleepily to Naruto. Naruto-kun. You just returned, right? Naruto just nodded his head dumbly. Forgive me for sleeping in your chest. Just that I was very tired and bored when waiting for you to return, so I decided to take a nap. I touched your chest and found it so comfortable, so I decided to sleep on it, said Aki smiling brightly and stuck her tongue out playfully. Naruto just sighed at that. Then he began to pale, remembered that he has two girlfriends, and if they knew what is going with him and Aki, then his life is already forfeit before Death Gun can shoot at him. Aki-san. I'd like to return home for a while, said Naruto scratching his head. Okay. Just return here in time, okay? Said Aki and poking his bare chest. Naruto covered his chest on instinct and saw Yuki residence. Naruto just stepped in the Yuki residence. He went to the kitchen when he smelled the delicious smell. He went inside and saw Asuna was cooking while humming I am home D-chan, said Naruto behind Asuna. Asuna turned around and surprised to see Naruto there. Naruto. When did you return? So how is the investigation? It's okay for now. But I am pretty hungry now. I'd like to taste your awesome cooking, said Naruto rubbing his stomach and raised his thumb up. Grinning, Asuna smiled at that and said hi. Wait for a minute, and Asuna brought the pan of paella to the table. Naruto began to drool hungrily. Asuna just smirked at that. Here. Eat as much as you can, Itadakimasu. Said Naruto and Asuna just looked at Naruto eating his food and smiled. Suddenly, she decided to ask. Naruto. If you are the participant of the Bob. Why didn't I see your name in the list? Naruto swallowed and answered, that's cause I didn't use the real name Ni-chan. Can you guess who am I in the list? Naruto asked with a smirk in his face. Asuna took out the magazine and began to look into it. She looked at the list for a while and didn't has any idea what his name could be. Then she remembered all the Shinigami posters in his room. She smirked and pointed at the name Shin. Naruto blinked, then sigh. You've got me, no. Asuna grinning and shows the victory sign to Naruto's face. Thank you for the food. I will be in my room. I need to make some things clear, said Naruto and left the kitchen. Asuna looked at Naruto's back worriedly. He definitely hid something dangerous from her. But she didn't know what. She knew Kirito knows something, but he refused to tell her. Whatever you are doing. Please, be careful, Naruto. Naruto's room. Naruto decided to check the official web of GGO to find the rare weapons list. He found the list of all the Roman numerals weapons. Suddenly, he stopped at the material optical camouflage mantle. The picture of the cloak looked exactly like the one Death Gun wore, which got Naruto's attention. He began to read the description. Metamaterial optical camouflage mantle has the ability to hide the user from both players and monsters by refracting the light that shines on its surface, and it is said to be the ultimate camouflage ability, which only the high-level bosses monsters have. The ability also allows the user to cloak their weapon after preparing it, making it possible for the user to shoot while invisible. Additionally, the cloak prevents the user from being detected by the satellite scan during Bob. The ability of the mantle also works within Taunt's last phrase makes Naruto to thought even more. Then his eyes widen in realization. First, the abnormal timing of the victims, which are the same as the time the avatars were shot. Second, the invisible mantle that can be used even within towns. Third, all the victims didn't die by fried brain, but by the heart attack. Naruto narrowed his eyes and began to deduce. So that's it. Death Gun is actually not one person, but maybe two or even more person. He used his mantle to sneak behind the victims to find out about their addresses. Then he informed to his accomplices so that they can get to the victims in the real world. The Death Gun in-game will make a signal sign for the accomplices Earl to act. The accomplices will inject the drug to the victim, which caused the heart attack. That's the secret of the Phantom Bullet. The secret of killing a person through the game of Death Gun. Then Naruto began to think even further. But I am his main target. And he already knew my identity. Therefore he will definitely find out about my location, with or without the information in panel terminal. I need to act. With that, Naruto began to call Kakakuka-san. I'd like to change my research location to my old house. Yeah, I can't tell you everything. But I can tell you that I've exposed the secret of killing through the game of Death Gun. I will fill in the report. Thank you very much. Naruto called Kirito next. Naruto. You've already returned from the GGO. So how did things there? Asked Kirito through the phone. Good to hear you as well, Kirito. I've managed to find out the secret of Death Gun. Though I did blew my cover already. You know my avatar's name in GGO, right? Said Naruto. What? You've already blown your cover? Yeah. I know your name. There is not much players that used a sword and can cause the earth and debris. So what are you gonna do now? Asked Kirito seriously. Listen carefully, Kirito. This operation may sound ridiculous, but it will definitely work. I will tell you one thing though. In this operation, my whole life will be depending on you. If you are even a second late, the operation will fail and I will die instantly, said Naruto in a very serious voice. Kirito widened his eyes in the other side and began to ask carefully. What kind of operation that has such a high risk to your life? Nothing will happen to me if the plan will succeed. Here is the plan, said Naruto and began to inform Kirito about his plan. Chapter 8. Accepting Yourself and Legends Return. At the park. Shino and Kyoji were sitting on the swing and swinging up and down. Kyoji looked at Shino and find her behavior really strange. Asada-san, you are quieter than usual. Did something happen? Asked Kyoji worriedly. Shino was thinking about Naruto's words during their match. He said that she couldn't become stronger because Seinen didn't accept her real self, as she couldn't accept that she can ever become Seinen. Huh. Oh, sorry Shinkawa-kun. I was thinking about something, answered Seinen, turning to Kyoji. Did it's something that happened during your last match against Shin-san? Asked Kyoji, then clutched his knuckle at the memory of Shin, embraced Seinen and touched her forehead with his ya. He said something like, I couldn't become stronger because I didn't accept me and Seinen were one and the same. That I need to accept that Seinen is me and she is me, only then I can grow stronger. When I think about it, it actually makes sense cause my true self always running away and hide my eyes under these glasses. Well, Seinen is trying to deny my true self as she is weak in her eyes, muttered Shino. But how can you become Seinen if just only the sight of the gun will make you panic? Asked Kyoji. I don't know, muttered Shino and shook her head. Hospital. Naruto decided to tell Nurse Aki that from now he will do the investigation alone, as the operation that he has planned need him to be alone in the room. He knocked at the door, then heard come and he came in the room and said good evening, Aki-san. Aki, reading some files, looks up from her work and sees Naruto standing there. Naruto-kun. What are you doing here? The tournament will start tomorrow, you know. Naruto went to Aki and answered, I know, Aki-san. I just want to tell you that from now, I will do the investigation alone. Aki blinked in surprise and asked, Why is that? Is it because of me? Did I made you feel uncomfortable? Naruto waves his hands in denial and shakes his head. No, it's nothing like that. I enjoy your company very much. It's just that from now on the situation will be much more dangerous. That's why I decide to finish the investigation alone. Of course, I already asked Kikuoka-san permission and he approved. Aki looked worried when Naruto said dangerous. What do you mean dangerous? Will your life be in danger? Naruto just looked away, then said solemnly, I created a plan that forced me to be in danger in order for it to work. When it ends everything will return to normal again. Aki decided to hug Naruto and muttered, just be careful, Naruto-kun. Remember that you are not alone. You have friends and family that waiting for you. Naruto just buried himself in her embrace and said, Yes, I know that. But I need to correct my past mistake no matter what happened. Shino's apartment. Shino arrived at her apartment. After changing her clothes, she lied on her bed for a while looking at the ceiling. Then she decided to stand up and went to the mirror to look at herself. She slowly took off her glasses to reveal her eyes. To accept myself, huh? Muttered Shino, touched the mirror. Then she recalled the talk with Naruto about finding the precious person to become stronger. Then the moment when Shin held to her waist and touched his forehead with hers. She wondered why she didn't push him away that instant. She remembered his sky blue eyes that looked at her eyes with so much emotion. Unconsciously, she began to think that Naruto is the precious person to her. Because he experienced the same emotion as her when killed. But not like her, he managed to move on, despite his experience was hundreds times more horrible. Naruto is the one that understand her the most. And Shin is Naruto. With that thought, she closed her eyes before the mirror. Suddenly, in a black space, Seinen appeared in front of her. She looked at her avatar and slowly raised her hand. Seinen doing the same action. When the two palms touched each other, Seinen said, Naruto is right. I can't become stronger because I always try to deny you because of your weakness. But I also forget that you are me. That's why I can't use my full power. The full power of Hikate. But now I think I understand why. It's time for us to become one. Asada. Shino looked at her avatar and replied, I too always run away from the reality, that's why I created you in order to be stronger. But by doing so, the real me began to lose the remaining courage that I possessed. I always let those girls bullying me and just accept it silently. Naruto has opened my eyes once again. You are me. And I am you. With that, Shino and Seinen began to glow. After the glow ended, there stood Asada. Shino, but she has the confident eyes of Seinen, and without the glasses reality. Shino opened her eyes, then took her glasses off, then looked herself again in the mirror. I feel so confident now. The shyness and uncertainty is all gone. So this is the real me. Such an amazing feeling. To feel yourself complete. Then she thought of something. She went to the drawer and opened it to reveal the model of the gun. Shino looked at it for a while, took a deep breath and slowly reached to it. Slowly she picked up the gun to hold it for a while. Shino blinked, then began to smile widely as she didn't throw up or shake out of fear. It's gone. My fear of the guns is gone now. Cheered Shino loudly, then laughed heartily. Then she makes a shooting sign and said to no one particular, just you wait, Naruto. This time I will pay back twice over. Then she lied down to her bed and began to think, why did the thought of Naruto give so much courage? Why? When I think about him I feel like I can trust him. Also, what is this strange feeling in the stomach? What is going on with me? Next day, Naruto's old apartment. Naruto sat on the bed holding the atmosphere in his hands. All the devices are already ready. Naruto looked at the atmosphere and sighed. It's time to end things once and for all. Lied down on the bed, then muttered. The success of the operation and my life depend entirely on you, Kirito. I am counting on you. With that he wore the atmosphere on his head and said, Link, start. A Dream Field party consists of Klein, Silica, Leafa and Lisbeth were fighting against a huge poison salamander. The salamander used his tail and strike down, but the party managed to dodge. Silica looked down at the ground and asked Klein-san, are you okay? I am okay, said Klein, smirking, and catch the salamander's tail while I am holding him in one place. Everyone hit him with everything you got, said Klein. I in midair, Lisbeth just rolled her eyes and said, who did he want to impress? I wonder. Klein-san, get him, said Yui, cheering for Klein. Klein-san, fight, cheered Wendy on Liz's shoulder. On the ground, Klein just smirked confidently and raised his thumb up. This is an easy prey. And the salamander decided to turn its head and released the poison smoke enveloping Klein. Klein was hit by the poison breath and began to lose HP. Whoa, poison, Klein-san, shouted Silica, seeing Klein was in trouble. Oh why, Kirito, help me out a bit, shouted Klein. When Kirito didn't respond, he decided to call Asuna. But she too was deep in thought. Kirito and Asuna were deep in thought. Kirito was thinking of Naruto's plan. It's definitely a very high-risk plan for Naruto's life. If he even late for a bit, then everything will be over. Asuna looked at Kirito and suspected he knew something. She also guessed that Naruto, not wanting for them to involve, told Kirito to keep quiet. Even though Naruto is not actually her blood brother, she still treat him like one. Asuna-san. Kirito, I am at my limit already, shouted Klein. His HP bar is at red zone. That moment both Kirito and Asuna snapped back to reality. Kirito charged forward, used horizontal to cut the salamander, while Asuna used a high-level healing spell to heal Klein. The salamander was cut in half by Kirito's strike. Klein sighed in relief at that. Sorry, I was in deep thought, said Kirito, scratching the back of his head. Me too. I shouldn't have spaced out in the middle of the battle, apologized Asuna, bowing her head. Well, it's almost time for Naruto-san's tournament, said Silica cheerfully. I know for sure that my Naruto-kun will kick so many asses, said Lisbeth, smirking widely. Naruto-kun will win the tournament. I know he will win, said Leafa confidently. Tou-san is super strong and will not lose to anyone, said Wendy, smiling brightly. The only two person that didn't talk anything was Kirito and Asuna. Kirito was afraid. He can't believe that Naruto entrust his life to him when he himself will be in virtual world. He afraid to fail his friend, then he will felt guilty for the rest of his life. Asuna also looking in the sky and prayed, please Naruto, whatever you do, please return safely. There are so many people waiting for Youthen. Klein's statement snapped, then out of their thought, well, let's go back to our room in Yggdrasil City. With that they all flew up to their destination. Goshen arrived at the Luke super weapon shop and went in. He saw Luke already sitting at the bench, so he decided to approach him. Is my sword ready, Luke-san? Oh, Shin. You are here already? Yeah, it's ready. Do you want yo have a glance at it? Asked Luca and took out a sword with a sheath in white color. Shin nodded his head, then picked it up, then unsheathed the sword to look at the blade. The sword has the normal katana handle. But the blade itself was like Gundam Destiny's blade, only a much smaller version. Shin looked at the sword in awe and tried some movement. Luke smirks at that and asked, Are you satisfied with my work? I called this sword Mursum Z0. Shin sheathed the sword back, then bowed down in gratitude. I thank you, this masterpiece. So how much is that sword? Luke looked at Shin and said, I will only take from you 300,000 credits. And I want you to win with my sword. Cause I am gonna bet a lot of money on you, my friend. Shin smirked at that and said, then I won't disappoint you. Good luck with your work. Then Shin paid for the sword and walked out of the shop. He put Mursum to the inventory. As he walked, he began to think, yes, with this sword Hidakiri Batausai is officially revived. Chapter 9. Operation Cheating Death. General Governor Office. Seinen has just come in the General Governor Office. Then she noticed there was a crowd gathering ahead of her. She decided to walk to the crowd to find out. When she was near, she looked at the target and narrowed her eyes at the figure. The figure in front of her was none other than Shin. But she noticed something felt different about him. Also she felt somewhat happy when looking at him. She shook her head out of that thought and approached Shin. Shin looked at Seinen as she approaching him. Seinen stopped in front of him and pointed her finger at his face. Today, I won't lose, neither will I. You have changed a little. You seems like you are complete now, said Shin. Then he narrows his eyes and analyze her. Seinen smirked at that and said, I am not the girl you know anymore. I've become much stronger thanks to you, she added as afterthought. Time skip at the table. Shin sat in his sit and began to think. Death Gun showed up after the second Bob. Both times, the murders occurred where others could see them. Before that, he probably worked on leveling up his avatar so he wouldn't stand out. And of course Death Gun was just a nickname he created to prove his action, not actually his avatar's name. What I need to do now is to find his avatar's name. Bob is the perfect stage for him to kill me, then prove his power to the rest of the people. I'll find his avatar name and kill him. Looked at the time and decided to go to the panel terminal to register to the tournament. Scene change. Shin went to the panel terminal, then he blinked when he noticed Seinen was there. He went to the one that near her. After the registration he decided to talk to Seinen. Seinen Seinen still ignored him. Seinen Ojisama Seinen has a tick appeared in her forehead, then she turned to Shin and asked annoyed what? I already greeted you. What else do you want? Shin scratched his head nervously and said well, I think it will be very wonderful if we could exchange information. Seinen just looked at him with apathetic eyes. Well. Actually it will be very useful for me, said Shin nervously fidgeting. Seinen looked at him with the same expression for a while, then she sighed and said it can't be helped. I will give you the second lecture, so try to remember everything. With that Seinen walked away from Shin. That wasn't my intention. Interiorly Shin decided to catch up to Seinen. Starter area. Shin went in and began to look in wonder. There were so many people there. Wow. Never knew there will be so many people. Here the main tournament is always like a big party, said Seinen standing next to Shin. Seinen and Shin walked ahead while the crowd discusses to themselves who is the candidate to the winner of Bob this time, as Exceed is no more. Then the same American soldier player noticed Shin walked past him and exclaimed hey, isn't that Shin-san? Yeah, it's definitely him. What a fearsome guy, he didn't even has a scratch on the qualifying round. Also he is the wielded of the Hades. Shin just sighed loudly at all the attention. While Seinen glanced back from the corner of her eyes at him and smirked. Seems someone has become too popular. Suddenly, he bumped to someone while deep in thought. He looked at the person and decided to apologize. The person saw who he bumped into and freaked out. I am very sorry, Shin-sama shouted the person in fright and bowed his head lowly. Shin just walked past them, then he decided to stop and slowly turned to the person he bumped into. The person gulped loudly and wait for the worst to come. You bet all your money on me, and when I win this tournament we will share, said Shin grinning widely and pointed at the person. The crowd just blinked owlishly at Shin's behavior. Seinen just sighed loudly and hold to her temple and muttered. Wow, you are such an idiot. Scene change. Shin and Seinen sitting at the table sipping their drinks. After Seinen had explained the information about the main tournament, Shin decided to ask her again to be sure. So, there will be 30 players that will be randomly placed on the same map. Then all 30 will fight each other until only one left, that will be the winner. Am I right so far? Well, yeah. All the 30 players will be placed on the same map. The starting locations are random, but you'll be at least 1000 meters from the other player, so 1000 meters. The map is that huge? Asked Shin in bewilderment. What did you expect? We are playing the shooting game after all. The main tournament's map is 10 kilometers in diameter. It has mountains, forests and deserts. The stage also starts in the afternoon, so no one has advantage or disadvantage due to equipments or stat type, explained Seinen. Can even find someone in such a huge place, I wonder. Muttered Shin putting his knuckle beneath his chin. Wow, you are shooting at each other with guns. So it needs to be that big. Also the participants automatically receive an item called a satellite scan terminal, said Seinen. Satellite. I've read about something like on the web, muttered Shin. It's a spy satellite that will pass over the stage every 15 minutes. Then it transmits all the location informations of each player on the map to the terminal, explained Seinen. So, it means you can only hide in one place for 15 minutes. Asked Shin. That's right, but didn't this put a disadvantage on sniper like you? Asked Shin. Seinen just smirked and said 15 minutes is enough for me to kill the target and leave the place. Is that so? Well, if that's all that you want to know, then I will be on my way. The next time I find you, said Seinen and was about to stand up, but Shin in panic didn't want her to leave just yet, embraced her to the waist from behind. Seinen blushed bright red and slapped Shin on the face and shouted what the heck do you think you are doing? Shin received a slap, stumbled a little, then rubbed his face where Seinen has slapped and said sorry, I didn't mean to grab you like that. It's just I still need your help with something. Seinen recovered from her blush, then sat down and turned to Shin with annoyed expression. So, what else do you want to ask me? Shin looked at her for a while, then decided to ask. This may seem strange. But how many players participating in Bob for the first time have names you don't recognize? Seinen was surprised at the question. What are you talking about? Please tell me. This is important, pleaded Shin. Well, it's only names, so I don't mind to tell you, said Seinen, other than a certain annoying sword wielder that's sitting next to me. There are only 3 new players, said Seinen and rolling her eyes. While Shin sweat dropped and laughed nervously. 3. Can you tell me their names? Asked Shin hurriedly and moved closer to Seinen. Seinen tried to suppress the blush that was about to reveal. Then she opened the list of the participants. There is Gunner X, then Pale Rider O, and this turban is also new, said Seinen showing the 3 names that Shin suspects that one of them is Death Gun. So mind to tell me. Why do you suddenly interest in those names? Asked Seinen. Shin is hesitating to tell Seinen about his past with Death Gun. He just played with his cup by turning it around. Seinen began to gain a tick mark on her forehead. What? Do you want to tell me or not? Your behavior really pissed me off. Or is this actually your strategy to piss me off, huh? Asked Seinen with irritating voice. And no, I didn't mean anything like that. It's just, answered Shin and waving his arms in denial. Is it a reason that you tell me at the final of qualifying round and when you meet that skeleton mask guy? Deduced Seinen and looked at Shin. Shin sighed loudly and nodded his head. Yeah. You know that I told you that I was the survivor of Sao, right? What you don't know is that, except me, there is a red guild that enjoyed to kill off the other players. In order to stop that madness, I decided to hunt them down. In the end, the whole guild was destroyed, but 10 members managed to escape. Then one fateful day, I accidentally met them. After that the battle started. I managed to kill 7 of them, but because I had become softer the 3 others managed to escape. And one of the 3 is known here as Death Gun. Also he wanted a revenge against me. Then Shin clutched his fist tightly and said solemnly, Zexeed, Tarako, Maelstrom, those people wouldn't have died if I killed those remaining 3. But I became too soft. That's the price, or the lives of those 3. That's why I didn't want you to get involved, Shino-chan. This is my battle alone, Shin said, then looking at Seinen with solemn expression. Seinen looked at Shin's solemn expression and wanted to comfort him, to say that's not his fault, but she couldn't do it for some reason. Maybe because the tournament was about to start and she didn't want to feel even more attached to him than she is now. This time I will definitely correct my past mistake. This time I will end things with my past once and for all, said Shin seriously, then stood up and about to walk away. Oh, here you are, Shin-san. And Hike too, said Mana, approaching their table. What are doing here? Mana asked Seinen, raising her eyebrow. I came here to tell you guys that I will be the winner of this tournament. And I hope you guys can withstand until the time we battle each other, said Mana, smirking. I don't have any attention to lose to you, Mana. I need to settle things with that annoying swordmaster, so I can't lose to anyone, declared Seinen, looking at Shun with narrow eyes. We will see about that. Well, I'll head to the standby area now, said Mana, and began to walk away. Seinen turned to Shin and said, We also need to go. Shin nodded his head and they walked to the direction that Mana has left. On the lift. Shin was standing before Seinen and looked ahead at the door in front of him. Seinen was silent for a while. When the lift nearly arrived at the place, she went behind Shin, make a gun with her hand and pointed at Shin's back. I know you have your reason. But my promise with you is a different matter. I won't forgive you if you were shot down by anyone or even killed by that death gun. I'll never forgive you, understand? I understand. But you must promise me. Never engage the skeleton mask guy no matter what, said Shin, then turned around and put his hands on her shoulder and looked deeply into her eyes. Seinen looked away when he looked at her so intently. She just nodded her head. Good, said Shin and turned back. The lift arrived at the 20th floor. Seinen and Shin walked out of the lift and went in further. The center screen was the same reporter on the MMO stream. You battle junkies who love the smell of gun oil and gun smoke, are you ready? Asked a reporter of the MMO stream on the screen. The crowd was busy putting their bets on their favorite NOW. Let's see who is the toughest player of the hardest VR MMO. GGO is with that. The crowd began to cheer loudly. Also MMO stream will be showing live footage of the battle. The crowd began to cheer even louder. NOW. Time for the count. The players began to tap their weapons to the ground and began to count together with the reporter. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bullet of bullets, start. Crowd began to cheer as louder as they could. Outside, the fireworks were shooting rapidly to the sky. Loigversal City. Kirito looked at the screen in front of him. He was about to log out, but as soon as suddenly asked Kirito-kun. You won't watch the tournament with us? No, I have some business outside, so I need to log out. I will watch the tournament on the computer though, answered Kirito. Asuna narrowed her eyes at that and asked, Did it have anything to do with Naruto? Kirito just stay silent. Asuna take the silent as yes and said, alright, Kirito-kun, you can go. But when everything is over I want the full explanation. Okay, Kirito nodded his head and logged out. Bizuto's room. Bizuto woke up and went to sit on his computer and began to recall the talk with Naruto the other day. Flashback. Here is the plan, but first I need you to know the trick that Death Gun used to kill the players through their avatar. The trick is simple. Death Gun is actually not one person but 2 or even more. He used his mantle to spy on the players on the panel terminal and managed to learn their location. Then he used his death gun and shoot a type avatar. His companion wait for Death Gun to shoot with his gun at the victim and injected the drug that stopped the heart, Naruto explained through the phone. Kirito listened carefully and asked. But if the companion of Death Gun is near the victim, can't he just inject the drug in the victim and not really need to wait for Death Gun to shoot from his gun? No, because all the 3 past victims were shot first, only then their avatar disappeared. I deduce the Death Gun has some kind of agreement with his companions that they will inject the drug after he shot at the victim. That action pretty much created the illusion like he has signed supernatural power that could kill a person in game, said Naruto. I understand now. So what is that plan of yours? Asked Kirito. I called this operation cheating death. It has 3 phases. First phase, I will kill as many players as I can in order to prove how dangerous I am, thus forcing most of them to stay away from me. Second phase, I will approach Death Gun, then let him shoot at me with his gun. The companion of Death Gun will definitely be at my old house by that time. You will watch both the situation in GGO and in my house. I have put a mini camera at the corner of my house that will transmit everything to your monitor. The Gil will hide at the secret room that was directly under my room. When Death Gun shoot from his gun at me, you will inform for a Gil to act and stop his companion before he could inject the drug into me. With that action I will prove to all the people that Death Gun is mere faker that doesn't have any supernatural power. Thus I will break the fear in the players that participate in the tournament. Final phase, I will kill Death Gun in the tournament. His name we can learn by interrogating his companion. That's the operation cheating death, explained Naruto the whole operation to Kirito. Kirito was speechless at the operation that Naruto has created. Well, I admit that the operation is very effective. But you put too much risk on yourself. What if I was late to inform a Gil even a second? You will certainly die, said Kirito. I trust you, Kirito. The operation will succeed and everything will return to normal. I promise, said Naruto. Then flashback. Kirito turned on his computer, then opened the MMO stream and the view of Naruto's old house. On the camera, nothing had happened yet. Naruto still lying in his bed with atmosphere on his head. Operation cheating death, start. Said Kirito and began to observe the tournament. Tournament Shin's location. Shin looked around and saw that there is still no one around him. He opened the terminal and saw that there were 5 players closest to him. He decided to approach them slowly. Gaijin, Kid, Poncho, Tenku, Raiden looked at the terminal and saw one figure was approaching them. They looked at the name and horrified, so they decided to make a temporary alliance. In order to defeat Shin they wait for a while until Shin's figure appeared before them. He was slowly approaching them with Murasame Z0 in his hand. The 5 of them decided to open fire at one. Shin saw the bullets that flying to him very clearly, so he dodges some and deflects some with his sword. Then he charges forward and muttered first phase, start with that. He charged at Gaijin with ridiculous speed and used Ryukansen Tsumuji to drill a hole in Gaijin's body, killing him. Then he felt a shot from behind and saw Poncho was shooting at him. He jumped up high in the air, then used Ryutsusen's and stabbed Poncho in his forehead, killing him instantly. After that he rushed to the direction of Tenku and used Soryasen to cut him in half. Raiden and Kid were scared of Shin's skill, such they decided to retreat. But Shin used Shukuchi and appeared in front of them in a blink of an eye. Shin charged at Raiden and used Hitan Mugen Zan to cut and blow the avatar of Raiden away because of the force of the attack. He had decided to take out a grenade to throw at Shin, but he was too late as Shin used Hiryu-sen to shoot the Murasame from its sheath at huge speed and force. This strike forced Kid to drop the grenade and detonate himself. Shin turned back when the grenade exploded. He has the same cold expression when he was Hitakiri Batausai. With Mana hides herself at the top of the tree and shot at the player to his head using a silencer. She decided to turn on the terminal to check how many players left. She was very surprised when 5 players are already out of the game. Who the heck can kill 5 people in such a short amount of time? It can only be Shin-san. Mana's eyes widen in realization. But Seinen was hiding in the bush not far from the mountain location. She is trying to snipe the player that ahead of her. But because he moved constantly she couldn't aim properly to shoot at him. Then she looked through the scope and noticed a mini grenade on his hip. She shot at the grenade at his hip, thus detonating it, killing the player as well. Bingo. Standby area. The crowd began to cheer loudly as they watched the battles. Some looked at the screen of Shin's battle and was astonished. What the heck? He alone took out 5 person at the same time. Is he some kind of monster or something? Asked a random player. Some players though recognized those moves that Shin has performed and began to shake those moves. In the whole VR MMO history only one person can move like that. Hitakiri Batausai is in GGO. Stuttered the person with wide eyes. And just as the crowd began to murmur about the reappearance of Hitakiri Batausai in GGO. But Seinen. After defeating the player, Seinen decided to take a break under the huge tree and check out the terminal. 18 players remained. Looks like Dine is being chased. Richie's on standby and wait for anyone to go near him to shoot them down with a heavy machine gun. So he won't move. Mana is doing a perfect job as always. She may find put where I was soon enough. It's better to go after Dine and Pale Rider. I wonder if Naruto is alright. Then she widened her eyes and then shook her head. Why? The heck am I even worry about him? He is my main target in this tournament. I don't care what happened to that jerk. Yeah, not a bit. Seinen tried to convince herself. She turned off the terminal and decided to go where Dine is right now with Dine. Dine is running away from Pale Rider. He is sweat dropping nervously as Pale Rider has pursued him for a while. Now what's with that guy? Then he looked ahead and saw a bridge in front of him. He ran to the other side, then lied down and prepared to shoot Pale Rider when he appears. "Now, come out. Then I will pump you with holes," said Dine looking at his scope. What he don't know is that far behind him, Seinen was aiming at his head with Hikate. You should always check your six, Dine said. Seinen. She was about to press on the trigger, suddenly she felt a presence behind her. She decided to take out her gun from the back and shouted. "Who's there?" Shin quickly disarmed her and pressed his body on hers. Seinen was surprised at the person atop of her. "Don't move. I want to watch this battle. Don't interfere unless necessary," said Shin. Looked down at her. "Why the heck should I listen to you? You are my main target, you know," replied Seinen. "Please be silent. I don't want for them to find out our location. It's really important to me. I need to check if my deduction was right or not. For that I will need to watch this battle," pleaded Shin, looking deep into her eyes. That gaze makes Seinen to watch away to suppress her blush from such intense gaze. "Oh, okay. But when it all ends I want you to battle me seriously. I don't want to win against you by shooting at your back. That I won't satisfy me at all. I want to battle you fair and square," said Seinen, narrowing her eyes at Shin. Shin nodded his head, then he lied down next to Seinen and took the binocular to watch the battle. Seinen lost the warmth of Shin's body and felt a little disappointed. Then she looked into her scope to look at the battle as well. "If he tries to move, I will shoot him down first," warned Seinen. Fine. Shin looked in his binocular and noticed there is one figure in white military uniform with some kind of helmet on his head. In his hand is a hunter gun. He is walking calmly to Dine's location. Dine looked at the figure that calmly approaching him and felt enraged. He decided to open fire at Pale Rider. Pale Rider used a wheel movement and dodged all the shots. Then he did some acrobatic move to dodge the bullets continuously. He moves like that of a monkey and moves really fast. Dine was cursing and tried to shoot at Pale Rider, but all in vain. This person is very strong. He used the lighter equipments on purpose so that it won't hinder his movements. Because his acrobatic skill is very high, he can dodge practically all the shots and continue to move at his opponent, then finished the battle with one shot of his gun, analyzed Seinen, while Shib just looked into the binocular, observed the battle silently. Pale Rider continues to rush like mad, while Dine continues to shoot at him. Suddenly, Dine was out of bullets, he decided to recharge hurriedly. But Pale Rider was faster. He shot from his gun at Dine's shoulder, injured him. Dine winced in pain and began to kneel down. Pale Rider pressed his body to Dine's and shot one more. Dine kneeled down to the ground and gritted his teeth. Pale Rider recharged quickly and pointed his gun at Dine's head. Dine only managed to curse before he was shot down to the head. And just that, Dine was out of the game. If he had time to swap the magazines, he should have shot down from the hip, said Seinen. The pale dude is ridiculously strong. Was he the one who wore the cape? Wondered Shin with narrowed eyes. "I am going to shoot him down now," said Seinen. "Okay. But if he really is that person," said Shin. You think that he really can dodge at this range?" "As far as I know, only you will able to dodge my shot from this range," said Seinen, definitely displeased with the fact. Suddenly, Pale Rider was shot to his shoulder out of nowhere. Shin widened his eyes at that and muttered, "Kuzo, it's him. He is hiding himself in the invisible mantle that nobody could see or detect him." Simon turned to Shin to ask curiously, "Who are you talking about? I don't see anybody near us," and turned to Seinen and said seriously, "Death gun. He is hiding under his invisible mantle and wait for the chance to shoot a stun bullet. No matter what happened, don't come out. I will handle this situation." Seinen was about to protest, but looking at Shin's serious eyes, she decided to listen to him. Shin looked to the left corner of the bridge and noticed the figure standing there. He gritted his teeth when looked at the skeleton mask with two red glowing eyes of the figure that wore a black metallic cape. He was there from the very beginning of this battle. And only now decided to show up. But what for? He already knows my identity. So what is he planning? Wondered Shin. Death gun slowly began to approach Pale Rider. The wind blew a little and revealed what is under his cape. Silent assassin. Wondered Seinen in surprise. "So that's the name of that rifle? Yeah, it's a high-level sniper rifle that equipped with a silencer. I heard rumors that it actually existed in GGO, but it's the first time I seeing one. If he can use a weapon like that, who is he actually?" Answered Seinen. Death gun is standing near the Pale Rider. Then he took out the black stat type 54 from his back and pointed Pale Rider. What? He was going to finish him off with a handgun? Wondered Seinen in surprise. Death gun began to make some kind of strange praying sign. Shin noticed that and took out his Hades. He changed it to extreme mode so it could shoot a railgun. "I need to act now before too late. Even though it's the first time I use this mode," said Shin, then hold Hades with both hands and pressed on the trigger. The result was a railgun heading to the direction of Death gun and Pale Rider with great speed. Seinen looked at the shot in shock. After all, it's the first time she saw a railgun was shot in this game disappear, said Shin with cold eyes. Chapter 10. Is this the end? Loigversal City. Asuna, Lisbeth, Lifa and Silica are sitting on the couch and watch the Bob tournament. Also behind them sitting near the bar is Klein. They looked at the participants list and saw that Shin is still alive. Oh, I want to see Naruto-kun in action so much. Why didn't he appear on the screen? Lifa whined in disappointment. All the battles are broadcast, aren't they? I am sure Naruto-san will appear soon enough, said Silica. Yeah, if that's about Naruto we are talking about, then he will appear soon enough. Also knowing him, he probably wants a worthy challenge, said Klein. That's right, Naruto is always like that. Oh, here he is, said Asuna, then turned to the screen, where she saw a figure with black cloak and a sheathed sword in his hand. Wow, Naruto-kun's avatar is almost as handsome as him. But even in the shooting game, he uses a sword. Typical Naruto-kun, said Lisbeth with a blush, then rolling her eyes when she looked at the Mutasum Z0 in his hand. That they began to laugh loudly. Then Klein proposed, well, let's see his battle. Okay, they all nodded and turned their attention to the screen. They saw that Naruto slowly walked forward. Suddenly, there were lots of bullets headed to his direction. They saw how Naruto deflected some and avoided some. Whistle. He is as impressive as always, said Klein with wide eyes. Then they saw Naruto charged forward and used Ryukinsen Tsumuji and drilled a hole in Jigen's body. Then when Poncho shot him from behind, Naruto jumped up in the air and used Ryutsuinsen Zan and killed Poncho. Then they saw him rush to 10Q and cut him in half with Soryasen. After that he chased after Raiden and Kid and then killed them off too. But that Naruto rushed to the other direction and away from the range of the camera. Wow, to take 5 of the players out alone. I know he is strong. But that was just plain ridiculous, muttered Klein in awe. Tou-chan will definitely win this tournament, said Wendy sitting on Lisbeth's lap. Yeah, I think so too. After all, Naruto-kun is the best swordsman that I know. The way he dodged the bullets, it's as if he could actually see them. Analyzed. Lifa. Asuna just looked at the battle silently and began to think, why did he decide to show himself? He could actually hide from the camera. Why did he decide to fight when the camera is broadcasting? He is trying to prove something to someone. But what then? Lisbeth looked back at the screen and whistled. Wow, look at this person. He is pretty strong too, said Lisbeth. Zoomed in the image of Pale Rider when he was fighting Dine. They saw he rushed at Dine, then shoot him in the head, killing him. They all watched in awe. Amazing, he may be rival to Naruto-san in terms of skill, said Silica. No way. Naruto-kun is far better than him. But I won't deny that he can also a candidate for the winner, said Lisbeth with confidence. Suddenly, Pale Rider was shot in the shoulder from out of nowhere. They all looked surprised at that. Hey, that didn't fair, complained Klein. Wait, he is not out of it yet, said Lisbeth and zoomed in the screen to show a glowing bullet sticking in the right shoulder of Rider. What's that? Wondered Silica. Probably a bullet that stunned the target for a certain amount of them, answered Yui. It's like the wind spell Thunder Web in Halo, said Lifa looking at the screen. Suddenly, the screen became a little static. Lisbeth decided to change to corner of the camera's view. The camera showed the image of the skeleton mask figure in a metallic black cape with a rifle behind his back. They looked at the figure nervously. But Asuna felt that she knew him from somewhere. Kazuto's room. Kazuto watched the tournament and the situation in Naruto's house at the same time. So far nothing happened yet. He saw how easily Naruto defeated 5 players and felt impressed. When the screen showed the face of Death Gun, he felt an unknown familiar feeling. I definitely know him. But where? Wait, maybe he was there when we decided to wipe out Laughing Coffin. If I remembered right, then he was the first one that engaged with me in that battle, recalled Kazuto and turned his head to the screen where showed the view of Naruto's location. Bob tournament at the bridge. Death Gun was about to shoot Pale Rider from his handgun. Suddenly, he looked to the right and saw a railgun coming to this direction at great speed. He jumped up high in the air to avoid the railgun. Using momentum, he shot from his handgun in mid-air to the chest of Rider. Rider was still paralyzed, so he couldn't dodge the shot. But, when he was shot by Death Gun, the effect wore off and he jumped up in the air to dodge the railgun. The railgun hit the ground and created a huge hole where they stood. But Shin and Seinen was shocked when the railgun was shot from Hades. She felt even more shocked when both Death Gun and Pale Rider managed to dodge that shot. Kuzo, I should have guessed that things won't be so easy, said Shin. Gritted his teeth back to the bridge. Pale Rider immediately charged at Death Gun with intention to finish him off in one shot. Suddenly, he dropped his gun and began to clutch his chest. Then he slowly kneeled down to the ground helplessly and lied down motionlessly. He clutches his heart and raised his right hand up one last time before his avatar disappeared. But Shin and Seinen watched as Pale Rider's avatar suddenly disappeared. What was that? Asked Seinen looking ahead of her. Shin glared at Death Gun's figure and muttered in anger again, that bastard has done it again. And I couldn't stop him. Shin clutched his knuckle tightly. Seinen just looked at him, not understand. Loygrissel City. Asuna, Lisbeth, Silica, Leafa, Yui, Wendy and Klein looked at the screen and saw that Pale Rider's avatar had disappeared. They all wondered what the heck is going on. Asuna looked narrowed eyes at Death Gun's figure the whole time with Death Gun. Death Gun stood before the camera and some steam came out of his skeleton mask. He began to speak. My true name, and the true name of this gun, is Death Gun. Raised his Death Gun up to the camera and continued. Someday, I will appear before you. Then I will bring true death to you with this gun. I have the power to do that. Do not forget. It isn't over. Nothing is over. It's showtime. Then the steam comes out of his mask and his eyes glowing red. After hearing that statement, Asuna said, I definitely met him somewhere. But where? It can only be that time. The time where the clearing party decided to wipe out. Suddenly, they heard the sound of glass shattering. They turned around and saw Klein approaching them in disbelief look on his face and no way, he can't, he muttered. Klein in disbelief. So you recognize him as well, Klein-san? Do you know exactly who he is? Asked Asuna turning to Klein. No, I can't remember his old name. But what I know for certain is that he was one of the 10 survivors of LC when we tried to wipe them out, answered Klein. When Naruto-kun returned after hunting down the Ragu rabbit, he said something about encounter the LC. He said that he managed to kill off 7 of them, but 3 managed to escape. I guessed that the skeleton mask dude was one of the 3 survivors, deduced Lisbeth recalling the moment. Is he the knife user that was their leader? Asked Asuna. No, it wasn't Po. He talks and acts totally different. But the phrase "it's showtime, it's Po's catchphrase," answered Klein. If was Lisbeth-san has told was true, then this dude, one more member and Po are the survivors after the encounter with Naruto. This what you try to hide from us, Naruto? Wondered Asuna. But Shin and Seinen. Seinen watched as Shin still grit his teeth in anger. She decided to ask him. Can you explain to me? What happened just now? Shin turned his attention to Seinen with a serious expression and said, Pale Rider has just been killed, Earl. His heart has stopped beating the moment Death Gun shot from his handgun away. Something like that is not possible, stated Seinen with certainty. Of course, not possible. But he is using a trick to kill people from the outside and makes an illusion like he has some supernatural power, said Shin. But that didn't change the fact that he still managed to make people believe that he has the power to kill in this game, continued Shin, punching the ground in frustration. Death Gun has decided to leave the bridge that moment. Shin looked at his leaving figure and saw him disappeared after the bridge and didn't come out. He probably used his mantle ability to become invisible. Now we won't be able to find him anymore, said Shin, annoyed. Seinen looked through her scope and noticed he didn't come out as well. She decided to take out the terminal to check his name, but Shin's voice interrupted her. It's useless. If he used his mantle ability then we won't be able to find him on the map. Seinen decided to check anyway and saw that Shin was right. There are only he, she and Dine on the map right now. What? In such a short amount of time and he managed to escape. That's not possible unless, deduced Seinen. No, I know what you are thinking, but no, he didn't hide under the water. He doesn't need to do something like that because of his special mantle. It's allowed him to become invisible so that even the satellite scan won't notice him, said Shin. So what are we gonna do now? Asked Seinen, raised her brow with his special cape, Death Gun cold anywhere. But we still don't know his avatar's name. That's why I am going to confirm whether from the other remaining 2 is Death Gun. Guess I will start with Gunner X, analyzed Shin, then I will go with you. That Death Gun is pretty strong. I don't want you to lose to him before facing me, said Seinen and was about to go, but Shin grabbed her hand and stopped her from moving. Absolutely not. You promised me, remember? He may even kill you if he wants, said Shiny. No, I promised you, but if he can kill you for real, then I won't want you to die. Shouted Seinen, looked at Shin with worry eyes. Shin was surprised. After all, it's the first time that she showed concern about him and not hiding under her tsunde herself. Then he looked at Seinen and smiled softly. I am very touched of your concern. But I will be fine. I don't want to involve you in my mistake. I told you before, right? This is my battle Alanane Sao. He was a monster that killed off many normal players for fun. But I am no better than him as well. Maybe even worse, cause I killed far more than him. Do you know that I alone destroyed the Orange Guild? Consists of 80 members. In one night, I destroyed 50 of them. I spared one of them and he gave the title of Hitakiri Batausai, said Shin in nostalgia. Seinen heard his story and decided to embrace him to make him feel better. Shin accepted the embrace and holds her for a while. Someone like that is really playing GGO? Wondered Seinen. Suddenly, she recalled the bloody incident in the past. Then she was shaken out from her thoughts by Shin. Are you okay, Shino-chan? Asked Shin in concern. Yeah, I am okay. Just a little surprised. But the way, you haven't told me about his trick yet, answered Seinen, shook her head, then looked up at Shin. His trick is simple. Death Gun is actually more than just one person. The Death Gun in GGO killed off the players with the help of his companions outside the game. When you saw him pray, that's just the excuse for him to signal his companion outside and to check the time to perform the trick. When Death Gun will shoot from his handgun. At the same time his companion will inject the drug to stop the heart, thus creating the illusion that Death Gun is actually managed to kill through an avatar, explained Shin. I understand now. So everything will be okay if he didn't shoot me with his black gun, right? I am with you. I won't take no for the answer, said Seinen, and narrowed her eyes. Shin was about to protest, but when he looked at Seinen's eyes, he understood that it will be useless to argue with her. Okay, but stay on the distance and try not to let him see you, warned Shin. With a heavy sigh, Seinen was about to proceed forward, but Shin suddenly unsheathed his sword and narrowed his. Seinen only now noticed he has a new sword and wondered where did he get it. Shin turned around and used Murasum to deflect the bullets that coming their way. The player that shooting at them saw that all the bullets were deflected and felt shocked. Seinen was in shock as well. I am going to charge in and used a move to stun him. The rest is up to you, Shino-chan, said Shin with a wink and charged forward. The player tried to shoot Shin down, but all proves useless as Shin continued to target close to him. When he is a certain distance he sheath his sword back to perform Ryu Maisen to create a shock wave that stunned the opponent. Now, said Shin and jumped back high. Seinen lied down and shot from Hikate blew away the opponent. Seinen stood up and watched Shin's back in awe. Shin looked back from the corner of his eyes and said, "Let's go, Shino-chan." Seinen nodded her head and proceeded to move. After checking the situation, they decided to the abandoned city as Death Gun was a sniper and won't stay in the open space for long. Loigversal City. Lisbeth, Silica and Lifa was extremely worried about Naruto after they watched what Death Gun was capable of. Asuna tried to cheer them up as much as she could. I and Sao, there was an unwritten rule that never let HP to reach 0. Because if that happened then you will die for real. But LC has killed hundreds of players. That's why we decided to capture them one day, said Klein. Then Naruto-kun and my brother, said Lifa. Yeah, Kirito was in our party and he fought on the front line. But Naruto was a different matter after he heard that some players decided to create PK guilds. He dedicated himself to destroy the members and the guild itself. Because of that people began to avoid him like a plague. It wasn't until he alone decided to defeat the final boss to clear the game. Nobody actually knew how he did that, but after that the survivors began to praise him as the hero, said Klein. Kirito-kun had promised me. When everything will be over, he will tell us everything, said Asuna. So Kirito actually know everything and didn't tell us anything. Why is that? Asked Klein, frustrated. Probably Naruto-kun told him not to. Naruto-kun is a very kind and thoughtful person after all. He doesn't want to involve in something so dangerous, said Lisbeth and smiled solemnly. That idiot always wanted to shoulder everything himself. First, Sao now this, said Klein, clearly not pleased. Naruto's room. A figure of Naruto that was still in full dive was lying on the bed. Suddenly, one figure in a hood walked in near his bed. He opened his phone and began to observe the tournament in it. Kazuto's room. Kazuto noticed there was a figure walked in Naruto's room and narrowed his eyes. He glanced back at the view of Bob and saw that the camera was in different place. It seems the second phase was about to start, said Kazuto in a serious voice. Abandoned city. Shin and Seinen has been running for a while, but they can't find Death Gun anywhere. So, who do you think is Death Gun from the remaining two? Gunner X or Sturban? Asked Shin. I actually have an idea. But May seems too obvious, proposed Seinen. Well, many players have it are pretty much obvious. For example, my name is short for Shinigami. What about you? Said Shin and asked Seinen. Mine is a name modified. I think it's like this. Gunner is a gun, while X is the cross symbol is referred to the crossbone that actually means death, said Seinen. Well, let's check either way. We haven't even seen that Sturban on the map, not even once. That's suspicious too, deduced Shin. Brought his knuckle to his chin and thought, I'm going to check where Gunner X is, said Seinen, and opened the terminal. Also you check from the north. Shin nods his head and began to check the north of the map. They checked all the names on the map. Suddenly, Seinen pressed at the location of the player at the stadium and revealed to be Gunner X. Only Gunner X is on the map now. There's no trace of Sturban. So there is a possibility that Gunner X is actually Death Gun. There is one more player not far from us. I think he is after him, said Shin. We need to get to him before he kill Rokoko, said Seinen. Back me up, said Shin, and turned ahead to move away. Roger, said Seinen. As she about to move she suddenly stopped when she saw Shin stopped. What else? asked Seinen. Suddenly Shin turned to her face and kissed her forehead gently. Seinen blushed bright red and stuttered, what the heck are you doing? I won't forgive you for this easily. You pervert. Shin looked at her face, cupped her cheek and said softly, just feel like to do this. Don't tell me you don't like that kiss. Then he smirked victoriously. Seinen opened her mouth, then shut it. She turned her head away and muttered, just go already. I am going to pay you back for that action. Shin just laughed and ran away to the direction of Gunner X. Seinen looked at his leaving figure and muttered while smiling, what a jerk. Then she followed Shin to the stadium. Not far from stadium. Seinen and Shin were hiding behind the bus. Seinen stepped out and activated her scan skill to search the location of Gunner X. Suddenly, she saw a gun point out from the wall. There he is. He may be still waiting for Rokoko, informed Seinen. Good, I am gonna attack him from behind now. You will stay here to back me up if something unexpected happened, said Shin. But I want to go with you, protested Seinen. It's better for you to stay at the distance. You are a sniper after all. I will feel more safe with you backing me up, said Shin. Then he ran away to the direction of the stadium. Seinen began to run ahead to find a proper place to snipe the target. If I defeat Death Gun, then he will become my enemy once more. I'll shoot him, defeat him, then forget him. Why I felt that I don't want to forget him, said Seinen and asked herself. She was about to proceed walking forward. Suddenly she was shoved away by someone. She looked at who did that and was surprised that it was Shin. He shoved her away from the stun bullet that stuck to his leg. Quick. Get out of here, Seinen. Death Gun is here. Hurry up, shouted Shin. Lied on the ground, paralyzed with gritted teeth. Seinen was too shocked to say and understand anything. She looked at Shin's paralyzing figure, then heard the sound of step that began to get close. Here, Seinen. Get out of here if you don't want to die, screamed Shin. That statement caused her to snap back and to automatically began to retreat back to the building. That moment Death Gun decided to reveal himself by deactivate his mantle. He slowly began to approach Shin. Shin just glared up at Death Gun from the ground. Finally, I will be able to kill you. After I finish you, I will go after that black swordsman and that woman. I have waited for this moment so long. The moment when I will have my revenge, said Death Gun and began to take out his handgun. Naruto's room's hood figure slowly took out the syringe of succinylcholine and waited for the signal to inject at Naruto's unconscious figure. But Shin looked fearfully as Death Gun began to pray and then point his gun at his chest. This is a goodbye. Sayonara, Hitakiri Batausai, said Death Gun. With that sound of shot was heard. Also the camera was flying above, broadcasting everything to the people outside. What if Naruto was strongest in Gun Gale Online? End here, and thanks for watching my video till the end.